Another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Dragon Age Veilguard. The game is out. Been out months, almost a year, okay? But new information has come out, which makes my old information legit. So we're going to talk about that type of stuff. We're going to talk about Splitgate 2. This boss, man, just stop. Stop apologizing. Stop talking. You're just digging yourself a hole with people that don't give a shit. So we'll go over that as well. We're going to talk about MindsEye because why not? You might as well just keep talking about it. It just came out 2 days ago, and it's glorious. It's glorious in the most horrific ways possible. Sony's giving refunds for it, and sponsorships are being canceled. So we'll talk about MindsEye as well. And then we have a video from the background NPC, which was a new content creator. Asmongold watched her stuff, and she blew up. She was as big as I was, and now she's over 100,000 subscribers, and she's talking about Nintendo and why she's done with Nintendo. So I watched a little bit of the video yesterday, and I said I'm going to stop, and I'll watch the rest of it with you guys today. So we're going to watch that video. If you like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, we're just here to get you through a couple of hours of your day. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. Let's see here. We can just, we can look at the leaderboard. I think the leaderboard is actually more convenient. What's going on, Sarge? Big Mo. Gaming Fire, Eclipse, Argus, Jason, Worlds, Travis, Roadkill, Water Bear, Silent Warrior, Dolphin, and Albany. What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing? I think that's everybody that chatted this morning. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying a little bit here. Sarge says, so why would I buy a handheld Xbox with a controller attached to that? Will only last a year before it gets stick drift. Well, it's a good question, Sarge. Switch 2's been out for less than a week, and people are already saying it's got stick drift. So it'll be amazing to see if it lasts 1 year, to be honest with you. What's going on, Raquel? Jay Breezy says, we love MindsEye in this community. Yeah, no, I have nothing against MindsEye. I have everything against the company that tried to push MindsEye out. Yeah. What's going on, Robic? All right, so let's start off with the Dragon Age stuff here. Okay. So, oh, wait, that's the wrong one. This is the right one. So, reports say that Dragon Age, the Veilguard, stemmed from management decisions. Call me shocked. What? Management positions? Who would have thought it was from the management positions? Who said that? This person never brought it up. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that. You can become a member as little as $5, be part of our Discord. Okay, reports say that Dragon Age, the Veilguard struggles stem from management decisions. So Dragon Age, the Veilguard was a disappointment in the eyes of long-term fans of the series and higher-ups of EA themselves. The game struggled to stand out players while failing to meet internal expectations after its October 2024 release. Now, in a new report published on Wednesday, there was more insight into what might be a blame for the lackluster release of Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Can I just say, time is always on my side. Time will always bring out the truth in these companies, right? There's not many people. I don't really like Jason Schreier, but he's the only person that goes into these deep dives into stuff like that when he talks about and finds out what's happening with companies, okay? I say certain things, and I'm like, this is what's happening, but we'll see, because time will tell. And here we go. Bloomberg Jason Schreier reports that many of the game's problems seem to stem from executive decisions and saw that the scope of the game changed multiple times. I had multiple videos. Okay, before Skull and Bones came out, I talked about Veilguard over and over and over and said, stay away from it, like I did Cyberpunk at launch. Okay, I said that this game went through complete changes multiple times. They went through different staff members, different upper management, different engines. They were making a live service game. I said all of these things before anyone else said about all of these things, because I was piecing together all of these different articles, and Pepperidge Farm never forgets. Okay, the game originally began as a standard BioWare single-player title before EA executives forced a pivot to becoming a multiplayer live service game. When the decision was made, creative director Mike Laidlaw, who disagreed with the decision, resigned from the studio. Matt Goldman took over for him and then began to work on the new online multiplayer version of the Dragon Age title. After multiple years of working on the multiplayer version of the game, it was then decided to move back to being a single-player title. When they switched back, happened, Schreier says it was done without any sort of reset on development. Instead, development was continued development while changing the game's fundamental structure and recasting the entire story. Okay? I'm just letting you know. Okay? I make predictions, and they come true. When it returned to a single player, the team BioWare was given a year and a half to finish with forced rush decisions. Okay? Quote, the strict deadline became a recurring problem. The report reads, the development team would make decisions believing that they all had less than a year to release the game, which severely limited the stories that they could tell, and also in the world they could also build. So wait a minute. So when we said the story sucked, and they were bad, and they called us racist, sexist, misogynistic, okay, we were right? What? I thought we were just doing the stories and telling them that they were bad. They're like, nah, you're sexist. You're racist. Okay? In addition to changes to the game's focus, the tone of the dialogue was a big problem point. According to those who took part of the alpha play test, the game featured a lack of satisfying choices and consequences. Okay? It was also said that the game's tone left people unsatisfied, leading BioWare to create a rewrite of the game's dialogue to include a more serious tone. Okay? Lastly, Schreier says that the future of BioWare remains concerned with the studio. A team of a few dozen employees are working on the next Mass Effect, which could be the last chance for 30-year-old studio to turn things around. Schreier says that EA declined to comment to the story. What do you think about Dragon Age Veilguard? I think exactly what I thought a year ago and 2 years ago, where I said stay away from it because it wasn't what Dragon Age was. Now, here's a bullet point section that Krebsy sent me in the Twitter feed. Okay, let's look at the fundamental stuffs, and these are bullet points. Jason Schreier has released article regarding what went wrong with Dragon Age Veilguard's development. Here are the highlights. Okay, BioWare was under immense pressure to succeed after the failure of Anthem and Andromeda with Veilguard to stay afloat. Right, so let's triple down. Right, so the problem with Andromeda was that it wasn't really flushed out. Right, the game was okay. The game's mechanics were good. People liked that. The story was okay. But the graphics, the glitching of the faces and stuff, they put out an unpolished product at launch. That was the problem with Andromeda, okay? Side stories were better than the main story, but for the most part, Andromeda was okay. Anthem was just a lie. Anthem was a lie from the very start, okay? They didn't know what the game was for 7 years. Not until the last, 18 months did they know what they were doing with Anthem, and they put it out. And Anthem, when you play Anthem, Anthem's mechanics are actually really good, right? The graphics were good. The story was shit, okay? Which just means you need to hire better writers, okay? But the fundamentals of the game, the combos, the gunplay, that stuff actually felt really good. The flying mechanics, but there was no end game. And they launched a game that was incomplete. It didn't have all the content in the game. There was literally pieces missing for the Colossus where you couldn't get the legendary weapons and stuff for it or complete the actual build, okay? They rushed that game out. So this is strike 2, right? So between Anthem and between Andromeda, okay, then all of a sudden they're like, well, let's double down. Let's make Dragon Age, which was called Dreadwolf, okay? Or as we called it over a year ago, Deadwolf, okay? Dreadwolf was supposed to be a live service game. Okay? Originally, it was a single-player game. Then they changed it to a live service game. Then they changed it back to a single-player game. But then they changed it to Veilguard. Then they changed it to call you racist, sexist, and misogynistic because you didn't like the story instead of just admitting that it wasn't a Dragon Age game. Okay? So original concept code name, what is that, Joplin, was a smaller single-player experience. A smaller single-player experience. Okay, EA forced a pivot into multiplayer live service format, codenamed Morrison, okay, in 2017. Okay, I started talking about staying away from this around the same time, shortly after Anthem. Okay, Mark Daria came onto the project and then left the project. Okay, the people that were making a completely separate game. Okay, so Matt Goldman replaced him. Okay, amidst the lighter a tone fitting of the online gameplay. Anthem's failure in 2019 raised internal doubts about repeating the mistake, so they tripled down and went a completely different route to hate you. Okay, pandemic disrupts the leadership resignations, further complicated development. In 2020, the project was abruptly pivoted back to a single-player game without proper pre-production. Team has given just 18 months to overhaul the structure and rewrite the story. This one I want to say is a real big one right here, right? This is the big one, chat. In 2020, when the project was abruptly pivoted back to single-player game without proper pre-production, that was the choice right then and there. 2020, 4 years before the game came out, that they said, no matter what we do, we're going to put it out. And if they like it, they're going to like it. We don't care if they like it or not. We're going in, right? Because changing it back to a single-player game without changing anything else, that was the turning point in my viewpoint here, okay? Tight timelines led to rushed decisions to lack meaningful choice in gameplay, okay? Well, this goes back to this because there was no pre-production, okay, which is blamed for upper management. Okay, multiple delays didn't allow redesign, just extensions of flawed structure. That would be because of upper management. Feedback from alpha testing in 2022 pointed to lack of impactful narrative decisions. That's because of upper management could make the choices of actually hiring someone that knows how to do narrative decisions. Okay, last-minute attempts to reintroduce meaningful choices were shallowed and constrained. That's because they put the wrong people into that position. Okay, BioWare brought in a second team from the Mass Effect project in 2023 to help finish the game. Excuse me, just sneezed. Okay. They brought the team in. That was the Hail Mary. We got to get this out the door. We got to bring in people, okay, that actually know what they're doing because we are drowning here. You ever worked at a restaurant or been at a restaurant when they're in the weeds? Okay? You ever been at a restaurant or worked there? You know, when you're in the weeds, man. Right? There's certain type of people I understand when the pressure's going, right? Those people like thrive and other people shut down. Okay? People that are correct for the position lift up and they see and they take it as a badge of honor. They're like, we're in the weeds. I'm going to get us out of these weeds. Okay? The other people, yeah, I'm allergic to bullshit. Right? The other people that can't handle stress, that can't handle these situations, they're like, they start crying. They make TikTok videos saying that too many customers are asking for drinks at Starbucks. Okay? That is what happens between someone that knows what they're doing, management-wise, and crumbling down when they under pressure. Okay? Culture clash arose. Dragon Age team was led back to Mass Effect team, was top-down and structured. Mass Effect leader rewrote and added new scenes, including the game's emotional finale. Dragon Age led were frustrated and denied similar resources and excluded from the key meetings. Okay, long-standing resentment emerged over the EA favoring Mass Effect internally. Well, Mass Effect is a bigger brand. Okay, basically what they should have done to Dragon Age is cancel it, is what they should have done. Back in 2020, when they didn't do the pre-production to switch it back to a single-player game. Okay. Voice actors strike over time demands hinder these changes. Initial trailer looked like Fortnite, alienating the RPG fan base. Okay. And I don't care how many of you say, well, it looks fine. Well, it looks fine. It didn't look anything like the other Dragon Ages. It looked nothing like it. And you guys took out your flags, planted them in the ground, and I said, I'm standing here, and I'm defending this game because this game's going to be Game of the Year. Oh, man. Those are good times. I can go back and look at those videos and remember the times I was yelling at you people from saying this game is not going to do well. Okay? And yet, here we are 10 months later. Here we are 10 months later. Okay? And the game bombed. They bombed. BioWare's on a hanging by a thread. Okay? Hanging by a thread. If Mass Effect messes up, they are done. Mass Effect and BioWare are done. Okay? BioWare's future contributes to around 5% of EA's annual revenue. 5%, they're definitely done. Okay? EA primarily profits from sports and shooter games. Analysts say that EA may continue supporting BioWare due to the potential payoff with the hit RPG. That's right, potential hit for RPG. Soon as Mass Effect fails, they are done. Okay? However, in the long decline raises real questions about whether EA is ultimately shut it down. Yes. Yes, it will. Okay? Analysts say that they shuttered the doors tomorrow. It wouldn't be a total surprise. And it wouldn't be a surprise to me. Yay. It says, it seems like the game's development was a disaster in every way. And the blame the lies at EA forcing the live service structure and then reverting to it wasn't wasting so much time, talent, and then not even letting them fully start over was a mess. Okay? The talent that they had wasn't talented. Laura Fryer said it yesterday or 2 days ago when we watched the video. She said sometimes the people that you give tasks to can't rise up to hit those tasks. And then you have to make the call of, is it a fail or not? EA will take that risk because they make so much money off of Madden, off of FC, off of all the shooter stuff, that they can bear the cost of Dragon Age going out and going, we can put money into it. Okay? They can take the brunt force of it because of these other money-making situations that they have in the company. But BioWare itself is on last leg, man. They have nowhere to go. If Mass Effect comes out, BioWare is done. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, did you know all along that Dragon Age was in problems with the upper management, or did you not know and this is a shocker to you? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, chat, what's going on? Let me see who said what here. All right, let me scroll back up. Water Bear, what's going on, Water Bear? New IP, so we're also some leeway there, along with the split fiction. You guys are talking about something else. Sarge's complaining about number one. What's going on, Ray? Impactful narrative decisions are getting rare. Something people call groundbreaking was something that we commonly had from 1990 to 2010. Yeah, it's weird, right? Look, you could tell when there's good writers and there's not good writers. You know, and I'm just going to say, I'm not saying a lot of writers are using this now, but I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, ChatGPT's only been around for about 3 years, right? 2 years, 3 years. So I don't want to blame it on AI, but if writing's this bad now, you think it's going to get better? Because majority of the people are using AI to write stuff now. You see it every single day during your articles. Waterbear says, I worked at a hotel during a Super Bowl one time. Let's just say I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Yeah. You were in the weeds, huh? You were in the weeds? I bet you got a lot of tips. Warbear also says, Travis, if they didn't know there was also going to go with the game, they should have been delayed about 2 years. Ray says 10 years to make Veilguard, and they say Mass Effect get the preferential treatment. Yeah. Jason says not enough surgery scars. That's what really broke it. I remember having a whole conversation about this. Argus says, we talking about Dragon Age the Veilguard? That's right. Roic says it's like Borderlands changing the art theme. A lot realistic. It just didn't work. People that like something block out a lot of things, right? So if you like Dragon Age, you're going to forget about a lot of things. You put your blinders on, right? You put your blinders on, you're like, no. It's still Dragon Age. I love Dragon Age. I love the first Dragon Age and the second Dragon Age, and I love all this, and I read all the books, and I did all this stuff, and you love it. You love it. So no matter what happens, what people talk about, you're like, la, 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 la. No, it doesn't, it looks fine. It looks fine. I'm going to speak nothing of it, right? Like, everyone likes to protect what they love instead of just stepping back a little bit and going, yeah, this is not Dragon Age. We watched a video last year of Greg Owen. I think this is where we learned about Greg Owen. I think we watched maybe 2 videos before, close to it. But Greg Owen broke it down, and then I broke his video down. And I said all the same stuff that I'm saying today, then, and way before then, okay? And this is all now in bullet points, right? I said upper management was the problem. They changed the game from single player to multiplayer, back to single player. And now all of a sudden, Jason Schreier, God's gift to journalism, apparently, okay? And everyone's like, oh my God, Jason wrote an article. It's true. It really is true, right? Where people, there was other articles before this. We all knew the problems with Dragon Age Veilguard before it came out. And yet, for some reason, now it's the problem. And, oh, well, I always knew. it was upper management. Shut up. I think the best part of this is the info is coming from Schreier. The guy had said, take it to the chuds. Yeah, the one that said that, oh, it's doing so well. Ray says the developer are very talented. The writers are bad apples. Upper management is terrible. Upper management is terrible at majority of these companies. Yeah, Schreier was one of the clowns who thought 89,000 players was good, and he owned the chuds. Exactly right, Jason. That's exactly right. Travis says, management is why it failed. In other news, Sky is wait. Let's see it. Check. Yep, it's still blue. Travis, you were one of the first people to defend this game. I'm gonna pass on. Okay. So BioWare is now working on a Mass Effect after fucking up the Dragon Age IP. Do we expect them to hit on all cylinders with Mass Effect? I want to say yes. All hands on deck. Are they gonna fuck it up? 100%. 100%. You know why? Because the same people that are working on these other games and on the upper management at BioWare is still the same upper management at BioWare. There's no change. Okay? Upper management in BioWare is the same upper management. So guess what? You're going to get the exact same product. BioWare devs are very talented. Andromeda, Anthem, Veilguard, and the amazing gameplay, but the writers need to be sued. Big Mo says, Mike, are you going to try out Alters? I think you'll like it. Which one is that, Mo? Is that on Game Pass? Come on, Hilly. I thought something was up when it looked like Fortnite and everything was purple. Hilly, it's because you're racist. Obviously, you're racist against purple, right? Misogynistic against purple, right? That's exactly what, right? I remember these conversations. Jay Breezy says, I just used AI to write this sentence. Congratulations. Thanks, Breezy. Jay Breezy says Veilguard went to PlayStation Plus in like 3 months. That's because it was fantastic. That's why. Hey, so I'm going to stand on my hill. Ain't changing my time about it at all. Enjoyed what I played of it. Mo, you could do that, but you also have to admit that the game was not Dragon Age and they fucked it up. Obviously, because there's proof they fucked it up. You can like fucked up shit, but you just got to admit that it's fucked up. Argus says everyone that likes Dragon Age said that Veilguard is nothing like any of the other Dragon Ages, and it was also saying that it was in a good way. Crowded says, I still say Anthem never got a fair chance. They just released a clear, unfinished game and dropped it. Right, it was like a demo. Think about this, House. Take Anthem and put it on Xbox as the preview program. Do you think anyone would have problems with that game? Right? Grounded and all these other preview games. Sea of Thieves is on preview for a little bit, right? All of these games come out And as long as you put alpha, beta, preview, early access, right? Everyone would have been like, oh, man, I can't wait till they finish this game. Nope, but they put that out, and it was unfinished. It's on Game Pass? Okay. The combat was extremely mid in the story, and the dialogue was extremely safe. Safe space. That's where it was. Rorek says it completely changed in the combat mechanics. Was such a horrible decision, and it wasn't as also writing. It was also on the devs. Well, the devs, look, the worker bees only do what the kings and queens or tell them what to do, right? Worker bees go out. They're like, hey, I need you to go out and get supplies. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go, right? And they come back and like, do you like this, right? And the upper management, which is the queen bee, goes, yeah, I like that. It's good. All right, let's continue with that. Let's do more of that, right? And they're like, okay, all right, this is what you like, right? So the devs are not safe from this. The devs did stuff. Upper management sees what they do, and they're like, yeah, we like that. Do more of that. And then when it doesn't work, they take a page out of Disney's book. Sexist, racist, misogynistic. Argus says, I wouldn't even download Dragon Age Veilguard. I didn't want to support the game. It is the slightest. It's uplifting and putting people front and center, and they're also trying to tell people how to treat it to be accepted. Mo says, please stop talking about Anthem. It's a very sensitive subject for me. Damn. EA should have been let him on live. Yeah, my son just played it the other day, Mo. He has to log in underneath my account, and I have a character that's like, all my characters are like maxed out. Okay, he loves it. He just goes around and he kills everything in like one shot. Okay, I look at it and I go, God, like I just stood there and watched him play it for a couple seconds. I was like, man, that game, so potential. Between that and then Marvel's Avengers, the potential of these two games, and they all went out the fucking window. They went out the fucking window. Yeah, Eclipse. Not just Travis. Not just Travis. There was a bunch of people that would come in here when we were talking about the game, and we were talking about the game. I didn't give two shits about the trans person in the game and all the other stuff. I was talking about the game. I was talking about the game before it even came out, about all the problems it was going to have because they switched, and everyone was just covering their ears, closing their eyes, covering their mouth, right? And they just didn't want to say. There were some people covering their ears going, no, seeing what I'm doing, okay? And they were still talking about, well, it's about this. You're sexist, you're racist. No, it's about bad game mechanics in the game. And then there'd be people that love Dragon Age. They would come out and tell you, no, I love Dragon Age. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay, great. Apparently, the people that made the game don't know what they're talking about either. So where do you go now, right? As a fan of the game, and you defended the game, okay? You look at what the internal people were talking about what the game is, and now you're defending the game. They didn't even like the game. They had problems with the game, and these people that play the game, they're defending it. Why? Because they spent $70. They spent $80 to get the game, and they feel like they have to protect it with all costs. Shields, hold, right? Instead of just calling it what it is. It was an incomplete game, okay? And it was changed multiple times, and they never fixed it. They were getting it out because they know there's suckers out there, and thank God there wasn't a lot of suckers, okay? But there were suckers out there that paid full price for this game. Water Bear says, Avengers makes me want to punch my monitor. I like the game. I know it was bad. See, this is what it looks like, chat. This is what it looks like, strangers out on the internet, okay? I loved Marvel's Avengers. It was a bad game. Crystal Dynamics fucked that game up because of the upper management, okay? They took the Marvel IP and tried to trick a whole bunch of people, but I love that game. But it was a shit game. See how easy that is? See how free that comes out? It was a shitty game. I knew it was a shitty game, but I liked the game. So much potential wasted. There's a bunch of you that can't do that. You can't do that. You're like, you can't say a game is shit because you spent your hard-earned money on it. Argus says the game is minus the trans stuff is considered mid, especially for a Dragon Age game. Jay Breezy says Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was great. Did the AI also write that, Jay Breezy? See, but as you're saying, 30, you gave several reasons that there were a fact that people whose only thing they focused on was non-binary and all that. Travis, what I'm talking about is what I've always talked about. You can go check out my other. I said I don't give a shit about your sex or race in a video game. So what you're talking about now is other people, not me. Never, ever said that the game was bad because of trans was in the game. Never said that. Okay? Never said that. I said it was bad because of everything else, which is now laid out in an article saying exactly what I said back in the past. Roic says, I'll boil it down to 20 minutes of gameplay and then to get back to the base tank. Talking to everyone to 45 minutes was boring. Argus says, Anthem being canned and all those mechanics being locked away in a vault with no power is an absolute shame. Lost potential. Kraken says, me with Destiny 2. Yeah, you can't talk bad about that, right? Just can't do it. Only 10,000 hours played. I just want to put that in perspective. Kraken has 10,000 hours in 10 years. Travis has 7,500 hours in 1 year. Mo says, I played a lot of shitty games in my day. That's right. Just call them out. You can like shitty games, Mo. Ray says, I love Marvel's Avengers. I bought it 95% off before being delisted. Came with it, all the microtransactions included. Yeah. I paid full price. I paid early access for that game, right? Because at one point, I was actually the largest Twitch streamer for the first week in that game, okay? And I have no regrets. I have no regrets paying full price. Why? Because I had fun. I liked the game, but the game was shit. Eclipse says, I just got trapped in quicksand, got out of it, stored my vehicle, and I got away from the worm. Oh, my God. That was so exciting. I blew up twice. Twice. Lost my bike twice. Lost my character once. I got out of the quicksand and just barely escaped because quicksand sucks, man, in Dune Awakening. I never said that either. It's also pointed out that the fact at the end of the game, one of the main characters calls them that's called bad writing, that you don't even stick to your own point. Oh, I remember that. I watched the highlights of that. I played the goddamn beta, Breezy says. Water Bear says they warned got me last night. Oh, the worm got me last night. Well, the lag did. And then the worm. Okay, so last night I was playing, right? After Helldivers 2, I just went on for a little bit. And all of a sudden I got that. For the last 2-3 days, I didn't get any errors. FG3, whatever it was. And it has something to do with the launcher. I looked it up, right? The launcher. So I was driving, and all of a sudden it just, boop. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to lose everything. And I got back, and I was off the bike. My bike was still going. I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to lose it again. I didn't die, but I was just like, what the hell, man? That lag sometimes is just unbearable. World says people shit on Duke Nukem forever, but I kind of liked it. That's fine. Worlds, we're all allowed to like stuff that's bad, right? We're all allowed to like something that's bad. And when I say bad, when the masses say this game is shit, but you like it, it's okay. It's okay to like games that are not good. Like what you like. Pay for what you want to pay for. But don't defend something when obviously there's problems, right? Like right now, the latest game, which we'll switch topics to, is MindsEye, okay? MindsEye, I'm sure someone bought that game at full price, and because they pay the $60, they don't want to admit it's bad. They're like, well, I had fun, okay? But that game is a bad game, right? That's a bad game. Right? So let's go over to MindsEye conversation here. Because, look, if MindsEye was so good, right? If MindsEye was so good, why would there be a title of MindsEye dev cancels sponsorship streams, okay, amid launch issues? Okay? Someone's saying that the game is fun and great, and then the actual developers cancel sponsor streams because it's such a fucking mess, they had to cancel it. Right? Two can't be the same. The game is a mess. Someone's like, I like it. I'm having fun. Great. You like shitty products. What can I tell you? Okay? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. I tell you shit that no one else will tell you because they don't want to hurt people's feelings and don't want to get sponsorships. Okay? MindsEye dev cancels sponsored streams amid launch issues. MindsEye is not experiencing the best launch, with most players complaining about the PC performance issues, bugs, glitches, and more. And more. Okay? You know, my track record's really good when it comes to sniffing out games when they're broke at launch. Okay? I said it back in, what's it called? Oh, God, I can't even think. There's so many games. Well, there's the day before. There was Battlefield 2042. There was Cyberpunk. There was Fallout 76. There were so many games. Okay? Dragon Age, Skull and Bones, this, right? So many games. I tell you, just give it the smell test, right? Obviously, you can't smell a video game, right? But you can look at it and go, there's something off about it. There's something off about it, okay? So MindsEye has not experienced just the best launch, okay? Amidst the launch issues, it seems that MindsEye has begun canceling sponsored streams. That's right, because they have a shit ton of money to spend, and they're like, you know what? Let's spend it on streamers. Oh, wait, our game's broke. Maybe we should hold back, okay? MindsEye is a narrative-driven single-player action adventure developed by Build a Rocket Boy, okay, and published by IO Interactive, and the development team is led by the former president of Rockstar, who has been involved in developing several GTA games, including GTA 5. However, despite all PR for the game, MindsEye missed the mark at launch. I think it just missed the launch, like missed it. Not even on launch. I think it's done. Okay, MindsEye canceled a Twitch creator sponsor stream. Okay, in a sponsor stream, the developer publisher paid the content creators to play the game on live stream while discussing the promoting it for the audience. However, as spotted by the gamer, MindsEye was canceled one of these sponsored streams at the very last minute. Ethan Gotch's new post on Blue Sky shows that Twitch streamer Carnage revealing how he was asked to cancel their MindsEye sponsorship stream right before launching the game. Carnage told his audience that this was the first time such a situation has occurred in their streaming career. If you haven't noticed, streams every single day, right? He's a pretty laid-back person. Even when he wants to talk crap about a game, he's pretty nice about it, okay? And even that point, when the company said, you know what, we're going to cancel because when streams a game, tens of thousands of people, sometimes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, once it goes to YouTube and all the other stuff, see this. And they know their game is a fucking mess, okay? And because the developers know it's a fucking mess, they're like, let's not do this because it's just going to make it worse for us because we're spending money on a big streamer and it's not going to get any return because they're going to expose everything about the game that's bad because you didn't make a game. The first recipe of make a game, sell a game is make the game, then sell the game. Okay? So Carnage management contacted them stating that the sponsor, quote, the sponsor does not want to do this right now. MindsEye developer told Carnage management that they also wanted to reschedule the sponsor stream. Okay, let's hear from himself, shall we?
Eventually, I think. So for the first time in my streaming career, I changed my title for a sponsored stream. I put in the profile button. I put in the command. That was at 8 o'clock sharp. My sponsored stream was supposed to start at 8. I opened up MindsEye, and as it was loading, my management contacted me and said, the sponsor does not want to do this right now. They would like to reschedule. And I said, oh, that's a first. Like, all right. So the sponsor decided not to do the sponsorship for now. And honestly, again, fully transparent and honest, it sounds like for MindsEye that was the right decision. Eventually.
Yeah, it was the right decision. But it was also the wrong decision to launch the game when they did. Okay? The streamer stated that although the first in his career and the sponsor decided to cancel the sponsorship for now, they also think it was the right decision for MindsEye. In other news, Hitman has announced a new collaboration with MindsEye. Also, here's how to unlock all achievement. They're using Hitman to try to push you into MindsEye. They're trying to use everything else. Look, the last straw for me was at the award show on Friday at the Summer Game Fest when they came on stage and said, "Oh yeah, we have IO and we're doing this," and then they didn't. They speed bumped over it at like 90 miles an hour. Like MindsEye, they went MindsEye comes out June 10th, and now we're going to talk about James Bond, and now we're going to talk about Hitman, and I was like, right? That was it. Right then and there, I was like, yeah, this game's bad. When the guy stood out there and said, MindsEye is coming out June 10th, not talking about it, not saying anything about it, skipped it, went to James Bond. Okay? So, MindsEye, so bad, that MindsEye gets a cyberpunk treatment as PlayStation issues refunds. Now, we just applauded PlayStation the other day because I said they will probably cancel the game because we had an article talking about how they canceled it in Japan. Okay? So, MindsEye gets a cyberpunk treatment as PlayStation issues refunds. MindsEye is off to a troubled start, and the experience is reminiscent of the CD Projekt Red's experience with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Similar to that time, PlayStation has begun issuing refunds for MindsEye. Congratulations, PlayStation. Not that I like to applaud corporations for doing anything correctly, but PlayStation is always on the consumer side when it comes to broken, buggy games that come out at a shitty product. Okay? They come back and they usually give money back, right? So MindsEye is developed by Rocket Boy and published by IO Interactive, and the single-player narrative-driven action adventure was released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC via Steam and Epic on June 10th. However, the game is experiencing a bumpy start. First impressions are everything. Get your shit together, okay? Primarily due to PC performance issues, bugs, and glitches, there's a significant chatter about the game ahead of launch. However, it failed to deliver on launch day. Was there significant chatter? I don't think the chatter that they're talking about was the correct chatter, because the chatter before the game launched was not good chatter. It was just chatter. Okay? PlayStation issuing refunds for MindsEye. Thanks to the gamer, we have seen two examples of PlayStation issuing refunds for MindsEye. The first example comes from MindsEye's subreddit, where a user has posted a conversation with PlayStation support in the request for a refund. The user mentioned that the game is advertised on the official PlayStation launch trailer with 60 FPS footage as Pro Enhanced, but that's incorrect. False advertisement, someone could get sued. Okay, PlayStation acknowledged the problem, stating that they are aware of the issue regarding the optimization of MindsEye, and they currently investigating the issue. In the meantime, they had processed a refund request for the consumer. Okay, hopefully more people are asking for refunds because, false advertisement. It's not 60 frames per second. Wolfgang Mishima posted a similar exchange on formerly Twitter. Wolfgang's post only includes a response from PlayStation, which stated that they're usually not allowed to offer refunds for games purchased from the PlayStation Store, but they will make an exception for users. PlayStation understands that the user is facing issues with the game, even after troubleshooting and refunding MindsEye as a goodwill gesture for the account. Cyberpunk 2077 faced similar situation to MindsEye, with the PlayStation issuing refunds despite its strict policy. However, the game wasn't been delisted from the platform yet. Things have seemed pretty bad for MindsEye right now, but similar to Cyberpunk 2077 situation, developers can work towards turning things around for the game in the future. Okay, look, make a game, sell a game. Do not put out a broken product. They could have, instead of making it June 10th, instead of putting a day one patch on June 10th, they could have held it back and put it for June 17th. Right? That way the game is actually working before it comes out. But nope, that's not what companies want to do. Companies don't want to test their game out. They want you to test their games out for them. They don't want to pay you to test out their games. They want you to pay them to test out their games. Okay? That's not going to happen. Not going to happen for me. Okay? Try to stop you from buying it on day one because the game is just not in a good state. Okay? I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. I'm trying to save you money for at least a couple of more hours or days before you purchase a broken, buggy, unfinished game. Okay? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Did you buy MindsEye? And God, why? Why did you buy it day one? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, let me scroll back up here. Sarge says, so the game isn't done. Surprise. Krebsy says 685 people currently playing it. Huge, huge numbers, Krebsy. They're going to break records. But remember, it's only on Steam. Oh, man. Yeah, they put money into it. They're the publisher. They put money into it. But they didn't want to advertise it. Why keep this game on an SSD? It could be a new PT. Oh, playtest. Waterbear says releasing what they called a game. They deserve every bit of the sarcasm and failure that also comes their way. Apparently, they didn't even learn from the day before. There's going to be more. Water, we talked about this. There's going to be more and more games using the Unreal Engine. Developers pushing a game out before it's done to try to get it over on you. They're going to try to make it look as fancy and good-looking as possible and try to pull suckers in. They don't need, right? They don't need a lot of people. They can take 1,000 people's, hard-earned money, right? They can make a lot of money off just a few people. Rare PlayStation support W. They do it every couple years. They're the only one that I know that gives refunds and stuff when shit like this happens. Sarge says it's not an issue. Stop talking like it's an unknown problem. You purposely released a substandard product, collect the money from it, and only reason there's also refunds is the third party had to stop them. Right. World says, everyone should have canceled their pre-orders or not bought it all as soon as those two employees left a week before launch. Yeah, it was less than a week. It was like 5 days. Jason says, did MindsEye win Game of the Year yet? It's close. It's gonna be up there, Jason. Worst game of the year. Best worst game of the year. Krebsy says, I watched the clip of the ending of man, it's bad. Wait a minute. Someone finished the game? Whew, that's 13 hours of pure enjoyment, I'm sure. Saw a video that his playthrough was 53 minutes of gameplay and 51 minutes of a cutscene. That right there, Roic, and I said this in the very beginning because one of the reviews that we watched yesterday, or the only review that we watched yesterday, the kid said the first couple hours is heavily on cutscenes, and they're really good, right? The mocap is really good. And when a company does that, where you're playing a game for the first 2 hours, and there's gameplay is like 10 minutes of the 2 hours, that is problematic because you're not playing the game. There needs to be a stipulation, okay, of 2 hours of gameplay is what needs to be taken, not 2 hours of starting the game and 1 hour and 59 minutes, okay, is cutscenes, because that's not playing a game, that's watching a fucking movie. Right? They need to do something about that because that's what they're going to do. That's how they'll adjust and adapt. They'll be like, well, it's a 2-hour refund. Back in the day, you had 14 days to return some things. Now, you have 2 hours. And now these developers and stuff are packing the front of it with cutscenes and other things, so you don't even know what the game is. And by the time you get to the actual gameplay, you're like 5-6 hours in, and you can't return it. Jack says, I don't understand why these game studios think they can sell us crap products and get away with it. And said part is they also allow day one buyers as well. That right there is why they do it, Jax. because they can make money. Maybe not in MindsEye's situation, but there's a lot of independent developers that 1, 2, 5 guys making a video game, okay? Or I should say people making a video game that just try to push it out to try to scam people. It's like taking a fish email, you know what I mean? Put out an email and say, oh, there's a prince that owes you money, right? And if you give us your email, that's it. It's the exact same. It's just a different scam. The scam is that you think you're getting a product, right? So they get your email, they get your bank account, they get something. That's how scamming works over on that side. Scamming in video games works by putting a game out there that's not really a game, but it looks really good, and then try to get you to pay the $70 up front, and then maybe a couple microtransactions or whatever else. That's what they try to do, right? Because how hard is it to get a refund? How hard is it to get a refund? Sometimes you can't even find the refund button on the goddamn site. Like, sorry. Real quick to take your money. They're real quick to take your money, but it takes weeks to get back your money. It's amazing. Can you imagine if it worked the opposite direction? You're like, yeah, no, I'll pay you in a couple weeks for the game. I'll pay you in a couple weeks for the game. No, they want the money now. I want it now. You don't get your money back, though. It's got to go through a process. Got to go through and make sure you're not scamming them, even though they're scamming you. Krebsy says, how do you leave Rockstar to start a studio to make this game? Because he wants to do what... Remember, Krebsy, Everywhere was the product. Everywhere is the product, not MindsEye. Okay? Everywhere was supposed to be what Grand Theft Auto Online was, where people come in, they make their own content, they do a whole bunch of stuff. You sell assets and microtransactions, and they were doing NFTs. He left to go try to make more money. He's like, oh, wow, I'm making a shit ton of money here. I can make a crap ton of money if I make it on my own. Roic says the only way things are going to change is if people start talking with their wallets. Just stop buying these unfinished and broken games. This is why I tell people all the time, just don't buy day one. Just don't pre-order and don't buy day one. It's amazing the change that'll happen. Okay? Like if your gas station down the road was charging $5 for gas, okay? And all of a sudden, everyone in the area didn't buy gas at that gas station, guess what would happen? That gas would go down in price dramatically because no one's shopping at his gas station. No one's stopping to fuel up to go in the store to get stuff. So what would they do? They would lower the gas price to get people through the door. They would do some sort of promotion. They would do something. Okay? But a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that the power of the money is us, the consumer. Not just here, not just for video games, for everything. You don't like something, you think something is too expensive, don't buy it. It's that simple. But yesterday we watched The Real Fake Wizard, and people are like, I can't help it. I just have to give money. I just have to give money. I just gotta spend it. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I don't understand the realization in people's heads, like, I just can't stop spending money. Everywhere is actually a mission creator gameplay toolbox. This was not made in Unreal Engine 5. Whatever it is, Albany, they wanted to sell everywhere. Everywhere was the system that they were trying to sell. It was a Trojan horse to get people to do it, to play it, right? Hell, even in the patch notes, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because let's see. I think Dustin reported something in the chat this morning. Where is it? Did you submit it, Dustin? I thought it was you. Where they updated it. MindsEye, sponsor stream. No. Did you delete it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Right? MindsEye has a hot fix incoming. Okay? A heartfelt thank you for everyone on day one. Has a heartfelt message. Improving performance across the thing. Upcoming hotfixes include initial CPU and GPU performance improvements, okay? Reduced difficulty, new setting disabled to modify the depth of field, a fix an issue or missing controls, okay? Pop-in warning for the PC. This will also be the first series updates amidst the enhancing of your experience. We'll also continue sharing your regular... where's the thing? Important to all players. All players on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation will receive all the latest patches and connected to the internet. Please ensure that the game is updated regularly. Where's the one that says they made an update? Hold on. They made an update to the actual... the creative tool thing. Across all devices, immediate focus of patches. It begins to commit addresses scheduled for all week on PC. It's also rolled out on the consoles as soon as possible. Right here, patching begins to commit with addresses scheduling for the end of the week for PC. There was one for the actual creative tool where it only happens on PC, which is also broke, by the way. Right, the creating tool that was actually broke for people on PC. You know your game is shit when Ubisoft's Watch Dogs is better? World says the problem is that the devs know a lot of people that don't spend time looking at talking about gaming like we do, so they can easily take advantage of those people. Warbear says, so I hear the so-called creation tool are only on the PC version and not on console versions. I wonder why. Do we see an online? Do we see the online for this game actually launch? Yeah, I do. I think they're going to try to... I think they're going to try to use that as the springboard back. Remember, this game's supposed to be around for decades. Proic says, just wait until the day 360-day patch to play it. Hold on one second. I got to pick up my cash. Impromptu prompt or impromptu prop. Now my money's all over the place. I always carry cash on me, by the way. All right. Let's go from MindsEye. Just get that off my screen. Just get that off my screen. I don't even care. All right, the next thing. Let's talk about Splitgate. Okay. Splitgate, this guy for some reason, every time I go to Twitter after I'm done streaming, there's another fucking apology by the guy from Splitgate, Ian. Okay, every time. 3 days in a row, 3 apologies. Right? I'm sorry for the hat. I'm sorry for throwing the guy underneath the bus. I'm sorry for the microtransactions. Like this guy's doing a lot of apologizing going on. Okay. This is the other apology, which was throwing the Call of Duty developer, okay, under the bus. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Really hit that like button, though. If I'm a small content creator, if you like this kind of footage, content, and then you watch other things, and you're friends with other people, and they go, oh, well, if you watch this, you might like this, right? So if you hit the like button, it pushes it out more. So please, if you like it, hit that like button. All right, Splitgate 2. Boss blames a former Call of Duty developer for $80 bundle. Says he didn't intend it to come out off as a shifting blame. Well, let me explain something to you. And I don't know how old Ian is, but he said while he was in college, they made Splitgate, and it's been 4 years, so maybe I want to say he's like 24, 25 years old, okay? So maybe he's that old. The frontal cortex doesn't develop in younger people until 25. So you're not aware of your stuff until later in life, okay? When you say the reason that the prices of the microtransactions are out is that we hired a Call of Duty guy, and you called him out by name, and then said, and it slipped through the cracks. Basically saying that the guy from Call of Duty that we hired for our company is the one that put this in here. That's what you said. You said that. Okay? Now, I don't know if you meant to say that, but that's what you said, and that's what it came out as. Okay? So, Splitgate 2 boss blames the former Call of Duty developer for $80 bundle. Technically, it was a $140 bundle, by the way. It wasn't a $80 bundle. It was a $140 bundle. and says it didn't intend it to come off in a shifting blame. So 1047 Games head, Ian, says that he implemented a new process so he doesn't happen again. Congratulations to the business owner, okay? He says squeezed in between his controversial appearance at Summer Game Fest wearing MAGA style again. He had an apology for this, and I brought it up the other day. I don't give two shits about this hat because I understand jokes and memes, okay? And obviously, even if he was a MAGA supporter or a Democrat, it doesn't really fucking matter. But he came out on a stage with a make FPS great again, meaning it was a joke. It was a joke. People that play these types of games are older gamers. They understand, right? He wants to make America great again. He wants to make first-person shooters great again. And people lost their mind. They're like, how dare you? How dare you wear a hat like that? Do you understand what that means? I do. Yeah, it means make first-person shooters great again. That's what it means. That's it. If you don't like it, then just move on. You don't have to be offended by it. You don't have to say that he's a Trump supporter or he hates people. He just thought it was funny. That's it. That's it. Okay? Squeezed in between controversial appearance of Summer Game Fest wearing a MAGA-style hat, make first-person shooters great again. It was also a subsequent apology for it. That's one apology, right? Splitgate 2 boss Ian also couldn't help himself by from slipping a quick knock against a former Call of Duty developer and former Splitgate 2 developer in a video on X. Apology number 2. It was posted on June 8th to explain how the $80 store bundle, which was $140, which was halved in price after fans criticized it. Remember, half in price was $160. It was $140. It should be $70, but it's $80, so he didn't really cut it in half. But, math is math, okay? Happened in the first place. Now, Ian recalled that what happened after the SFG appearance, which is the Summer Game Fest appearance, the second I got off stage, I called Derek. Derek knows now, okay? Our lead game designer, and I said, Derek, did you know about this $140 bundle? This is news to me. What the heck? That makes no sense. I'm sorry, Ian. I would love to talk to you. If you want to come on, we'll have a conversation. But I don't believe you. I don't believe you in one little bit. If you are the owner and you are the person that runs everything, and you should know everything. Everything. Okay? I know it's hard to run a business. You should know everything that's happening in your game. And to be shocked that all of a sudden you had microtransactions in your game, when you say you miss Call of Duty, the old Call of Duty, you miss Titanfall, and yet you have a free-to-play game and you're aggressively selling microtransactions for $140, you would think that would be first thing. But no. Nope, you're using people's love of the old, of what Call of Duty was, what Titanfall was, what old arenas were, to capitalize on your success, which is fine. That's called capitalism, okay? But don't come out here being shocked that you didn't know that you had high microtransactions in your game, in your company. Essentially what happened is our former head of monetization, these are quotes, by the way, quotes, essentially what happened in a former head of monetization, like I said, former, right? Like the guy was former, and before he left, he stuck it in there, and I was just too busy to realize it, who happened to come from Call of Duty, was with us for less than a year and was very aggressive on the pricing, he said, which means that you were okay with it and forgot about it. And you forgot about it. Right? You have a lot going on. You're running a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats, but you forgot about it. Then it went live. You went, oh, my God, what happened? Right? Speaking of IGN, Ian said that he remarked about former Call of Duty developer, which also happens to be the main FPS series. He claims to souring in the genre was a funny coincidence, but 100% the truth. Okay, Ian went to explain in the video that the team reevaluated everything a month ago and lowered the price from its reportedly set by monetization head, but missed the $80 bundle because, unfortunately, things slipped through the cracks. So you went through and evaluated everything a month ago, but you just missed that. You just missed that one really expensive $140 microtransaction. All right, I'll let you slide with that one, right? Coming from a guy who wore a hat inspired by Donald Trump's slogan, to break through the noise, okay? of all games at Summer Game Fest. I'm not surprised he threw a former employee underneath the bus in the same video, where he admits he was oversight in his part. Taking responsibility seems to be something Ian's learning in real time. Now, I don't like the way the reporter's reporting this, right? Because it was inspired by Donald Trump's Make America Great Again hat to break through the noise, which makes sense, right? You want something to stick out between all the other games that are out there. It worked, right? So you shouldn't apologize after, because that's exactly what it was, okay? But he is correct here by saying taking responsibility seems that Ian is learning in real time, which goes back to what I said in the very beginning. Your frontal cortex as a young adult doesn't develop until you're 25, and he's a new business owner. Running a studio, running a game, people really like it, but greed is coming into effect here, all right? But we'll see. He said he wrote in a Reddit AMA on Wednesday that, quote, didn't intend for it to come off as a shifting blame, and that the honest truth is, though, that it was unaware of the $80 bundle, which was a $140 bundle. I don't know why I keep saying 80. It was split in half after the fact, and would never have allowed it to go live. Well, as a business owner, you have to know the ins and outs of your business. You got to cross the T's, dot the I's, okay, and make sure everything is going smooth. Otherwise, guess what? You take the blame. You take the fall when stuff like this comes out, which he's doing in real time right now, okay? Ian says he was too focused on server stability during the beta, and he also wanted ways to check the store before it went live. Going forward, I have set up meetings every Monday with our new product manager, Matt, who is awesome, and Derek, our lead game designer, also awesome, to make sure we have visibility of everything going live in the store and the playlist last week, so that doesn't happen again. Look, learn from mistakes. You got to fuck up to make your mistakes, but I would tone down your microtransactions. $80 seems still a little too ridiculous for a microtransaction, because AAA companies are doing that. And if you're trying to make your game what Call of Duty was in the past, okay, and I know the landscape of the new genre of video games here, or the new meta of video games, is to charge a shit ton for microtransactions off your free-to-play game, but you might want to just tone it down a little bit, because if your game is so good, as everyone says it is, right, lots of fun, really good, love to play it, everyone says really good things about your game, you're not going to make money because you're charging way too much for your microtransactions. More people play your game, the more people will spend money on your game when they're having fun. But you're trying to capitalize on it before you even make a name for yourself. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about Splitgate, what you think about Ian as a manager, where he's learning in real time. 3 apologies in 3 days. It's very impressive. Make sure you hit that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Argus, thank you very much for the 17-month support. Head of monetization, they need a damn head of making a good game, which I think the game is supposedly being really good. Not my cup of tea. I don't play arena shooters, but the game will speak for itself. You coming out saying it's the next Call of Duty or what? Just make the game, sell the game. Make the game, sell the game. Jason says this guy is a clown for apologizing. He's apologized multiple times now for multiple things. Never apologize. Never apologize. People can get offended by anything, right? If someone's offended by a hat you wore, that's their problem, not yours. You say exactly what it was. It's marketing. Marketing. He's on stage, okay, saying make FPS great again. He didn't say anything about America. He didn't say anything about that. He was taking off a joke off make America great again, make first-person shooters great again. We want our first-person shooter games back. That's what the hat was for. Mo says pussification of America. Put it right next to your copy of Concord. Kylo says, I hope the sarcasm, Ron. Ron says, I'm buying MindsEye today. Can't wait to experience it. Ron, don't take any. Ron is basically an AI. That's what Ron is. Ron in Discord, he just makes AI pictures, and in chat, Ron just constantly just makes fun of stuff. We appreciate you, Ron. John McCord says, morning 30. I missed the days of 360 PlayStation 3 era where the slop action titles like MindsEye were still enjoyable and become successful over time. Yeah, those days were gone, right? And you're never going to get those days back, John, because back in the day, like, remember like the campy movies like in the 80s and 90s, right? Do you see any of those anymore? It's because it's like evolved over time, okay? Like you can't go back to those times because people saw those things and then they made them better and better and better. And then you get stuff like this come out and you're like, whew, right? But there are games out there that have a little character to it where they don't need to be like groundbreaking visual games. Look at Schedule 1, right? Schedule 1, you're just a dope dealer going around building an empire, okay? Graphics are not great, but people love the game. People love the game. Ron says Splitgate 2 is actually pretty good, though. Sure, but the owner, operational CEO, is making mistakes left and right in real time. Just stop. Just don't apologize. You can't come out and say, I didn't mean to throw my guy underneath the bus after throwing him underneath the bus. You could take blame and say, yeah, we made a mistake. We made a mistake of $140 microtransactions. That was my bad. No, he said this guy was from Call of Duty, shouted out the old Activision, okay? Funny enough, he wanted the old Call of Duty, hired a guy from Call of Duty, didn't like him, then sent him back. Right? I don't know. It seems a little odd. Argus says monetization at the beginning of the end for good video games in the video game industry. Got to make gaming great again. What can I say? Roadkill says, hit the like button. Yeah, come on, hit that like button. Here. I gotta.
Scroll through, you're feeling the vibe, got the energy, you're along for the ride. I got the content you love, you know it's right, so go ahead, don't be shy. Like up that like, one click, it's so easy to do. Support the crew and spread the view. That little thumbs up can change the game. So hit it now and make your way. Smash that like, oh, don't delay. It's your ticket to brighten my day. Smash that like, come join the team. Show some love for the dream on screen.
So there you go. Hit the like button. Oh, sorry. If you don't hit the like button, you might be a little zesty. Maybe. Head of monetization, they need a damn head of making a good game. Kyle says they really should have a new name for microtransaction at this point because they aren't micro anymore. No, they're macro. They're just full price, basically. Just transaction. Krebsy says, I thought Splitgate 1 was bad. They did too. Krebsy, that's why they abandoned it and went to Splitgate 2 instead of supporting Splitgate 1. Argus says people actually like and saw potential in Splitgate 1, and it was also fun for what was out at the time. Stealth says save your money. Ron is reverse Travis. Yeah, Ron is reverse Travis. Stealth says, what's going on, Stealth? Says, did you see that co-stream for MindsEye yesterday, was started in the game before it booted the sponsor? Yeah, we watched something and we talked about it already, Stealth. We just talked about it. We talked about that before we talked about Splitgate. When games are fun and good, they will survive. That's correct. That's underneath the term of make a game. Whatever happened to firefighter horror game that was worse than MindsEye? Firefighter. You talking about Firebreaker? Is that what you're talking? Is that the one you're talking about with the Post-it notes? Krebs says Splitgate guy wanted to be like the Split Fiction guy and tell Activision to go fuck themselves, but walked it back. That's actually good, Krebs. That's exactly right. He's like, we want our Call of Duty back. Fuck yourself. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Don't hurt me. Yeah. Mo says all it takes is one stream to blow those games up. That's right, Warrior. Make a song, sell a song. We're not selling the song, but we made a song. We did make a song. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Mo says, like the spy game, it was also about to go under. They were making 2, and then it just blew up. What spy game? You're talking about Among Us? Is that what you're talking about? Is that the game you're talking about, Mo? Because Among Us was making us. They were making Among Us 2, or was it 3? They were making 1. They made 1. They were working on 2, but then 1 blew up. Is that what it is? Something like that? I forget if they already made a second one or not. All right. Let's go from that Splitgate to there's this. What time is it? Yeah, okay. So we have this this story, which is we just talked about Game Pass yesterday, right? We always talk about Game Pass, about the developers putting it on there. I've said in the past that Game Pass is good for developers. I said it just the other day. I said it's good for developers, smaller developers that don't know if they can sell the money because they can still sell them. They get upfront cash from Microsoft, and they get to sell their game afterwards, and they've been very successful, right? So dev who launches game into Game Pass also warns against launching games into Game Pass. Huh. This sounds like you know when people make videos, like I'm playing Dune Awakening right now, right? And they make a video of like where to farm a certain thing, but then they're mad that there's people farming in that certain area, so now they can't get their stuff. You know what I'm talking about? You want to call it gatekeeping, I guess, a little bit? You're like, hey, we launched on Game Pass and we made a shit ton of money, but we're warning against other people that are coming into the game market because, you know, it could be bad. Like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm intrigued. If you guys like what I do here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do this 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern, Monday through Thursday. All right? What's going on, Mr. Luke? So it says, dev who launched game into Game Pass warns against launching games into Game Pass. I'm really intrigued. Revenge of Savage Planets, Alex Hutchin, warns against how subscription services can devalue the content. Okay? He says, Devolver Raccoon Logic worked with Microsoft to bring Revenge of the Savage Planet to Xbox Game Pass as day one launch title, but studio head Alex Hutchins said new games launching into Game Pass can devalue them and hurt the industry overall. Okay? Who's said this before? Speaking of Gamer Social Club, Hutchins said that most of the traffic so far for Revenge of the Savage Planet has been from Game Pass. While full game sales have been good, the game is also available on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Okay? Now, why do you think they put it on PlayStation 4? Probably because there's 67,000 people that haven't moved over to a PlayStation 5 yet. Okay? As for bringing the game to Game Pass at launch, Hutchins said working with Microsoft was presumably taking payment from the company was part of Raccoon's Logic Balance effort to trying to reach as many people as possible and making money. The gamble of making money, but yet taking money up front where you didn't have to make that money. Big gamble. You could have put it on the platform and you could have just see if you made money. But now there's people playing your game and they haven't paid for it. They're paying a percentage and you already got the money up front. So if let's say you got $200,000, let's say you got $1 million, it's a $60 game, $70 game, whatever you want to call it, right? They paid for 250,000 copies. They paid for 500,000 copies. They paid for whatever it is, right? They gave you money up front for that. Okay? It says the financial terms of Game Pass deals are not made public, but it's understood that Microsoft pays developers to bring their games to Game Pass at launch as part of the company's ambitious scale to service attract new users. Okay? Hutchins said that the whole industry should agree to only allow games on subscription services a year after release. Now, I have a question, Hutchin. You literally took money. I don't know if you took the money, okay? But if you made the deal, is Hutchin the CEO? Is Hutchin the CEO? Game Social Hutchin said the most is he just a dev? Or is he like a high up person? Okay. Hutchins said that the whole industry should agree on only allowing games as subscription services as a year after release. Now, I've been on record, I said I like Sony's business model, okay? As a customer, obviously, I have Game Pass, okay, because it's a good deal, okay? I said in the longevity of the stuff, it could hurt the industry because of what it is. Because right now, when you're on Game Pass, just the first-party titles of them, but now it's third-party games, and it's independent games, and they're starting to slowly get a lot of people on there. I said in the past that Sony's business model is a better business model. Let it out there for 6 months to a year and then put it on the service. And then you make the money after that, right? People pay for it at a discounted rate. People go buy it on your live service thing, whatever. Okay? I've been on record saying that. I'm saying it again right now. Okay? But I also use Game Pass. Why? Because I'm a consumer and I want to save money. And if I pay $20 and I get 1,000 games on there and I like it, if I don't like it, no skin off my back. It's better than paying $80 or $120 for Dragon Age Veilguard or MindsEye. Okay? Just the show that they just showed from on Sunday, that we watched on Monday, it's like 12 games, right? At $80 a piece? That's a shit ton of money, man. Okay? So let's continue. Okay? It says the financial terms of Game Pass deals are made public, okay, or not made public. Developers also, the games also launch. Hutchins said that the whole industry, I already read that part, sorry, the current structure will prove very damaging to anyone who is not owned by the publishers soon if it continues. Hutchins said. Posting on social media, Hutchin said Nintendo stands alone with the respect of retaining the value of games. Everyone's except Nintendo is also the race of value content at zero, which also will end in tears, he said. Hutchin is also saying that this is a person who took a deal from Microsoft to launch Revenge of the Savage Planet into Game Pass on day one. So what gives? He said the studio hope with making the deal with Microsoft was to help Revenge of the Savage Planet get exposure and would also encourage people to buy DLC packs or encourage a friend to buy a game. That's not what happens, though. What do you mean that's not what happens, though? I can prove that's exactly what happens. Maybe not to the extent that he wants, but I paid, or I didn't buy Minecraft Dungeons when it first came out. I did not buy Minecraft Dungeons when it came out. I played Minecraft Dungeons on Game Pass, and then I bought all the expansion packs for Minecraft Dungeons after the fact. Why? Because I was having fun with the game, and I thought I would pay them and give them DLCs. So they made $25 off of me because it was $5 per pass or per expansion pass, okay? Or DLC, okay? Then I said, you know what? If they ever take this off, I'm going to buy the game. So I bought the game for $20. So they made $45 off of me. The game was out on Game Pass, and I bought it. Sea of Thieves, okay? I own Sea of Thieves, okay? I didn't pay full price, but the fact that is that he's saying that that's not what's happened, though. When did it launch? When did it launch? Like, are the people making the games the same, like people like Goldfish Brains? Like they have no attention span whatsoever, and they're like, well, we just launched, and that's not what's happening. It doesn't happen in a day, okay? People play the game and go, oh, it's actually pretty fun, right? Make a game. Sell a game. You took cash up front for your game for Game Pass, and you're selling it for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I don't know if it's on PC. I'm assuming it's on PC as well. Okay? So you're making money in other avenues. I don't get it. It says we haven't seen that, or at least not yet. Well, that's good. I should have read on. What we've seen that the content has been devalued and that the people are less willing to pay for things, which is long run will also likely mean that less games being made and a lot more studios going under, he said. Boy, let me tell you, it's hard to run a business. It's hard to make a video game. Imagine making something and then you selling yourself, right? You sold yourself. If you didn't want to do this, you didn't have to sell to Microsoft. You could have just said, hey, we're putting it on Microsoft and we don't want to be on Game Pass. But you chose to make a decision and you made the choice of being on Game Pass. You took the cash up front. Now you have to wait, okay? It'd be very interesting if this is like 8 months after or 10 months after the game came out and see what the sales were. It's literally been out for a couple of days or weeks or whatever, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? Right. And then as Mo's saying, Expedition 33 says hi, right? Power World says hi. Expedition 33 says hi, right? There's so many games that have come to Game Pass and yet still making money. So it's very strange for someone to say that they took the money and then that this is not what's happening. Okay. It says we see the context of the value of the people are also willing to pay for things, and which also long run will likely mean less games being made and a lot more studios going under, he said. As for the Game Pass payments from Microsoft, Hutchins said it's true that the checks were big enough to make a difference, but that was years ago. Bro, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? If I get a check of $1 million and you just spend it randomly across the thing, right? What are you talking about? You chose. So it was okay when you had the money, but now you're out of money. So now you're like, well, it hasn't converted. What? These days, unless let me back up a sentence and then we'll continue reading. So as for Game Pass payments, Microsoft Hutchins said that it was true that the checks were big enough to make a difference, but that was years ago. These days, unless your game is tiny or you're a rare, enormous brand, this isn't much. But Microsoft have been amazing partners, and they were glad to be working with them, he said. This guy's all over the fucking place. First of all, Expedition 33 literally said, blows this out of the water. Okay? Indiana Jones making money and having DLC says different. Okay? Pal World says different. Okay? There's so many games that have been on Game Pass that they are successful. And sure, there's games that are on Game Pass that are not successful. But there's a lot of games on Game Pass that are successful, that are independent developers, that are not first-party titles with Microsoft that are making it. To say that you took the money, you put your second... Because don't they have their second game? Isn't the first game is Return to... Is it the Savage Planet? Or is it the new game is Return of Savage Planet? Right? They made a second game. Am I wrong about that? Didn't they make a second game? Game Pass and the paradigm shift for gaming and its model is no other than a major competitor has embraced. But it's part of Sony. He has said that it is not will not launch its new games into PlayStation Plus on day one because of how it can also endure a negative impact of the overall value chain of the ecosystem. That'll change. Okay. So Nintendo doesn't have a similar program either. Historically known for holding prices and also the cease of Mario Kart World increased pricing. Okay, well then go make a game for the Switch. See how it goes out for you. Hutchins directed Assassin's Creed 3 and Far Cry 4 while Ubisoft before leaving to start Typhoon Studios, which released Journey of the Savage Planet in 2020. Google required Typhoon for its failed Stadia game, Ambitious, okay, before closing the studio and scuttling Stadia. Hutchins then founded Raccoon Logic in 2021, releasing Revenge of the Savage Planet in May of 2025. Oh, I see. So, Savage Planet, Journey of the Savage Planet was the first game, and they made money on that one. And I believe that was on Game Pass because we played it. It was on Game Pass at the time, so they took money for that. And then they closed the studio down, and now he made a new studio, and then made Revenge of the Savage Planet, and then went back to the same people that he's now saying it's a bad business model. I'm very confused by this guy. I'm very, very confused by Hutchins here. Okay, because in one hand, he's taking the money from Microsoft. In the other hand, he's biting the hand that gave him the money to be on Game Pass. And I guess he's saying, be careful, because we thought our game was going to get more sales because of this, but it hasn't yet. But yet, Expedition 33 is like, bro, right? Atomfall coming out with more DLC. Okay? What was the other one? So there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't add up here. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Give me 1 second. I got to take a phone call.
fun, the fight's begun. A universe of heroes, we rise as one. From Cap Shield to Widow's Sting.
Well, that was a short phone call. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Mo says, Big Expedition 33 says, hi. Money up front, bro. That's what I said. I've always known that. This dude's a few years late. We've been having this conversation for years. Waterbear says, I say new IPs benefit from Game Pass more so than the sequels seem to. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, obviously we could take a guess, but we have no evidence of that, right? I guess if Power World 2 comes out, we'll know. Or Expedition 34 comes out, you know, I have no idea. What do you mean years ago? Game Pass has only been out in this fashion for 5 years. No, Game Pass came out before the system, Sarge. We were talking about Game Pass back in 2018, 2017, 2018, I believe, is when they first made Game Pass. Eclipse says, and they put the second game day one on Game Pass. That's what I don't understand. Like, having a person say what they said, but yet they had their second game on Game Pass, so they took cash? So you're telling me, because the way he said it, is they took money up front, but that was years ago. What do you mean? In another world, you have to get money from somebody else, right? And then you have to sell the game to make your money back. Xbox gave you the money up front. You could have put that money to the side and made the game still and then sell it off like you would. Right? They already covered a certain amount of copies. Yeah, the first one was on Game Pass, and they were also able to make a second game. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be 8 years that it's been out. Yeah, it's been out for a while, Sarge. Jack says, now I'm confused. Game Pass helps with discovery, and people will invest in it in your next game. And when it comes out, whether it is in a service or not, like Expedition 33 or A Plague's Tale series, Lies of P. Those are two other great ones, Plague Tale and Lies of P, right? It gets out to more people. Mo says it's almost been a decade, but it also seems unsustainable. When's the FIFA game coming out? The next FC game comes out soon, I believe. Yeah, Mo. High on Life was able to make a sequel. World says you can't say they should only release a game on the service after a year. Then you took and took it. Right. That's right. I don't understand. He's like, we should do this, but we took the money up front. Like, what? It doesn't make sense. Ray says Game Pass is bad for developers. Meanwhile, Plague Tales 3 Saga putting day one games. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I've said that the more games that come onto Game Pass, the harder it will be. It'll be like the Netflix thing where you're scrolling through, right? Obviously, when Game Pass, because what, they have like 28 studios? I'm sorry, Xbox has like 28 studios. If they have 28 studios and they constantly putting games out, they're going to cover over the people that they bring in for third party. So there's going to be less chances for third party games to come on to fill those gaps that are not first party games, right? The systems they are using now are only been around a few big titles that have also been on Game Pass the entire time. They got their money in the bag and they can still sell to PlayStation players. PlayStation game, you also sign an exclusive deal. Argus says Game Pass just objectively increases the amount of people that will also see it and play the game at full price, and many people also will not even try many of the long-established games. Right. I mean, there's a lot of games that you play, though, on Game Pass that you'll never pay, but they got their money up front. They got their money up front. Plague Tale are in their third game dropping in the service. Yeah, 34 plus. What did Water say, Krebsy? I say it's new IP benefits from Game Pass more so, and the sequels seem to. Again, I want to agree, but I can't agree without knowing proof. It's a good theory, right? It's a good theory. Albany says Game Pass games cost $80 on PlayStation 5. Come on, PlayStation gamers, get Game Pass PC if you don't like Xbox. Here's the thing: is Revenge of the Savage Planet, is that on PC as well? Let me see. Okay, it's on PlayStation, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, Xbox Cloud, GeForce Now, Windows. Is it not on Microsoft Windows? So it's only on the Windows Store. PlayStation 5. Well, they could make it for PC if they wanted to. I mean, they took the money. I just don't get it. See, the problem is they're like, well, we haven't seen any return on it. You took the money. How many copies does that cover? That's the way you have to look at it. If Microsoft gives you money up front, they're giving you money up front for copies sold, right? You don't have to sell those copies anymore. They gave you the money of how many copies they thought would sell on their platform. So if they didn't give you the money, and then you put it on Xbox, and let's say you sold 10,000 units, right? 10,000 units. They gave you money up front for, let's say, 200,000 units, right? It's a gamble you're going to have to take. You either take the money up front and think that this is how many we're going to sell, or you put it out there and see how much you're going to sell. I'll tell you what, I said last week or a month ago, I said I would take that money up front all the time. If I was an independent developer and Microsoft was giving me money up front, I would take that money up front because that's copies sold that you don't have to actually sell. And if you sell more, it's just bonus on top of that. Planet of Lana was going to leave Game Pass 40 days ago, but they renovated it and contracted with Xbox. The sequel is coming to Game Pass day one. Well, there you go. Because they probably said, we're not going to sell very many. Let's see what we can get from Xbox. Right? They're covering the money up front. And there's a lot of money that they get. Right? There's a lot of money they get each month from Game Pass. Exactly, Ray. 200,000 copies. So 200,000 copies at, I don't know, let's say the game is $60, right? That's what, $120 million, right? Is that what it would be? So 200,000 times 60, yeah, 12 million. That's $12 million, right? So if they gave them 12 million up front, right? They're like, here you go. We'll give you for 200,000 copies. They're like, okay, right? And let's say that a small independent game cost them, I don't know, 20 million to make, but they're making 12 million back right away. That's huge. That's huge. And again, we're just randomly selecting numbers here, right? If you get 30%, 40% of your money back before you even launch a game, because it could work the opposite way. You launch the game and it doesn't sell at all because the competition is so stacked. I already said that, Albany. I said, imagine if they just did a preview program or early access. I already said that earlier in the show. I said, if you just took MindsEye and put it on preview program, no one would have a problem with it. Nobody would have a problem with it. They'd be like, man, this is really fun. I can't wait to see what happens when they actually complete it. But they didn't do that. They put it out there 100% straight up. Game is made and done. All right. The last thing we're going to watch today is a content creator who was a small content creator. I mean, she had less subscribers than me about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. Okay. Her name is the background NPC, right? But then Asmongold watched one of her videos and she exploded, and now she's over 100,000, 130,000 people subscribed to her. And she's got pretty good content. I watched a little bit of it yesterday. So let's watch this. She's talking about Switch 2 is the last straw, and she says, I'm done with Nintendo, right? She said something yesterday. I posted a clip inside our Discord yesterday, and that's where I stopped watching, okay, where the other day on GXG, I said that the Nintendo Switch is going to sell because they're going for the same people that are the Walt Disney fans, right? Real Fake Wizard called them neckbeards. I just called them Disney adults, okay? And she says in this video, she says that she was a Disney adult until she figured out, and then, wait, and they're the exact same. Nintendo and Disney are the exact same, okay? So let's watch this.
So the Switch 2 is out, and honestly, I wish I could say I was excited. I really, really wanted to be excited. Like many 90s babies, I grew up on Nintendo. They were my
90s babies. Well, ballpark, know the age.
very first gaming love. And not just the games, but the feeling of them. The wonder, the warmth, the way they pulled you into a world and made it feel like home. Ocarina of Time was the one.
Let me back up here for a second.
The way they pulled.
There's something about that packaging from Nintendo back in the day. What was she saying? When I look at that, man, it just brings me right back when I was a kid. I love that packaging. I love getting that box and then opening it up and pulling the cartridge out. That was such a good time.
Pulled you into a world and made it feel like home. Ocarina of Time was the one that really awoke something in me. That opening in Kokiri Forest with the Deku Tree, riding Epona across Hyrule Field, it all felt so massive. Like a real world was tucked inside a little cartridge. And then Majora's Mask came along, and my little self had never felt such anxiety. That eerie moon, the ticking clock, the emotional side quests that made you care so much in so little time. It was the very first game that made me feel something beyond just fun. It was sad, confusing, kind of strange at times, and very deep. It wasn't just Zelda. I was obsessed with Super Mario 64.
Mario 64, man. I played the this game blew my mind at the N64. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, this is next level. Can you imagine what the world's going to bring us in the future?
Running wild through
And then, obviously, Nintendo didn't change much.
Peach's castle, jumping into paintings, discovering every secret star. That game felt like true freedom. And then there were classics like Kirby's Dream Land, Yoshi's Story, Donkey Kong 64, Star Fox, Metroid Prime, all completely different and wonderful in their own way. And every one of them had a vibe, a soul, that Nintendo spark that made it feel like you weren't just playing, you were being let in on something very special. And then my parents bought me the original DS, and just like that, the whole thing was cracked wide open for me. That's how I found Animal Crossing Wild World, and I was hooked. I spent hours in that little village, rearranging furniture, writing letters, fishing for red snappers, and visiting my best friend's town during our weekly sleepovers. Even now, just hearing the soundtrack makes me very emotional. It takes me right back to those quiet, cozy afternoons after school, all curled up with that
She looks familiar.
clunky silver DS
Look at
with
that face.
nowhere else that I needed to be. Truly the epitome of nostalgia. I didn't know it then, but those games were helping to shape how I saw everything. Stories, characters, even myself. And for a while, it really felt like Nintendo understood how to make something that mattered. And it didn't stop there.
Nintendo's the devil, just letting you know. Nintendo doesn't give two shits about you. Doesn't give shits about anybody.
Basically owned every major Nintendo console, starting with the N64, GameCube, Wii, DS, 3DS, even the Wii U, which, in my humble opinion, was ahead of its time, by the way. But I owned all of them.
That's a hot take there. Background NPC. Wii U ahead of its time? All right.
And when the Switch was announced with Breath of the Wild, I was beyond excited. Like, very
I don't think she knew about the Sega Dreamcast.
cringely crying at the announcement trailer excited. As a Zelda fan, it was everything I'd ever wanted in a game, and to this day, it is still one of my favorites. That launch brought back so much of the old magic, which is probably why I held on for so long and I even wanted to work for them. Like, genuinely. I applied to corporate Nintendo PR jobs probably 15 to 20 times. I'm not even exaggerating. Back in 2019, I was pursuing PR, and when I got the opportunity to go to E3 that year, the very last E3, by the way, I actually spoke with a Nintendo PR
I think she did a better choice than joining Nintendo.
team in person. It was magical. The Nintendo section of the event was
I think if she actually worked with Nintendo, I think it would have ruined her, right? Because she would have saw how the sausage was made, and this video would have been made 5 years ago.
so overwhelming and electric, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is what I want, and this is what I want to be a part of. So please, hear me out. What we are about to discuss isn't coming from someone who's out to bash Nintendo. This is coming from someone who genuinely, wholeheartedly, even at times, very cringely, loved Nintendo and their games, and really believed in what I thought they stood for. But over time, I've started to realize that maybe Nintendo isn't the company I thought they were.
They're not. And you not getting the job there, I'm telling you, was probably was very good, because you would have worked there and you would have been like, oh God, what have I done? Never meet your heroes. Okay? Never meet your heroes.
What I've seen over the last few years is that my nostalgia goggles have been working overtime, and they've kept me from really seeing the true nature of a company that I once held so dear to my heart. So let's dive in. And let's start with the release of the Switch 2. It's officially out now, and sales are booming. Records are being broken, and over 3 million units were sold worldwide on release day. People
Don't care. Don't care.
are also loving Mario Kart World, and I'm genuinely very happy for them. Yes, the game looks like a lot of fun. I just wish I felt something, because more than anything, I just feel tired.
What other games are out for Nintendo Switch 2 right now? What games right now are out for Nintendo Switch 2 as a launch titles?
$450 or $500 if you get it bundled with Mario Kart World, this doesn't feel like a celebration of the next chapter. It feels like Nintendo seeing how far they can stretch our loyalty. How much
That's exactly right. Sony does this. Nintendo does this. Japanese companies do this. Okay, they already know their customer base. They already know what they're excited about and what they would pay for. Hence why PlayStation fans got sold the VR2, and why they got sold a PlayStation Portal. Right? They're drinking the Kool-Aid. Right? This is, if you guys take this the wrong way, that's on you. Okay, but they know their clientele, and they know that, well, they like the PlayStation. Let's just sell them more of the stuff. So they sold you a PlayStation Portal, selling you on what it could be, but not. Selling you on VR what it could be, but it's not. Right? So they keep doing the same stuff over and over. Nintendo does the exact same thing. Okay. Why do you think that PlayStation's coming out with a big fighting controller now, with all the fighting games coming out? Okay, that's planned. Okay, that's not a, oh my God, they're listening. No, they know what they're doing. They're like, oh well, if we bring the fighting games over here, Nintendo does the same thing. This is why Nintendo sold all the other contraptions, the glove, right, the gun, the robot, same shit over and over and over. They know that Mario Kart, they can sell what they want, and they put this out at $80. This is the tell, right? They're like, if we put this at $80, let's see how many people bite for it. And they bought it. And that's it. Now the floodgates are open. They're like, well, they bought this, so now we can put the other thing out there.
they can charge us for something that isn't even new, just a little bit newer. And listen, I'm not here to crap on Mario Kart. I actually really like Mario Kart. I do. It's one of those comfort games that's always been there, and it's attached to so many fond memories of playing with friends and family. But even though it looks fun, when that's the flagship title for a brand new console launch, I don't know, I personally just couldn't get behind the hype.
I agree.
It feels kind of boring, safe, predictable. Nintendo isn't asking, hey, what's possible here? They're asking, what can we get away with?
Minimal viable product.
Because $80 for Mario Kart World, that's not just a new number. It's a shift in how this industry treats its players. And what surprises me, even though it shouldn't at this point, is that it's Nintendo, of all companies, ushering.
That is the blinders that she was talking about, the goggles, okay? She's oh my God, it's Nintendo. That's because you love Nintendo, and you can't believe that Nintendo's doing it, right? And this is why corporations don't care about you. We've said this for years and years and years and years on this channel. Okay, on this channel, my other channel. Okay, they don't care. Corporations don't care about you.
In this new pricing standard. This wasn't them reluctantly following a trend that I know was inevitable, but this was them leading the charge, setting a precedent, establishing $80 as the new normal, and not with some expansive, genre-pushing new experience, but with an exact game formula that we've literally seen 16 times at this point. And
Holy Christ, has it been that long? Oh my God. We got Mario Kart, right? 1992, then Mario Kart 64, 1996, then Mario Kart Super Circuit 2001, Mario Kart Double Dash 2003, Mario Kart DS 2005, Mario Kart Arcade GP, then we have Mario Kart Arcade GP 2, then Mario Kart Wii, then Mario Kart 7, then Mario Kart GP DX, then Mario Kart 8, then Mario Kart Arcade GP VR, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Tour, and now you have the live show, and then you have the new one. Holy Christ. Tell me they don't know their clientele.
And it makes you ask, why? Because meanwhile, I'm looking at games like Helldivers 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Remnant 2, Clair Obscur, Baldur's Gate 3, and so many more. Games that have real creative vision, some with massive campaigns, even some with fleshed out co-op systems, launching at or below
Split Fiction, such a good game. Such a good game.
$60. And many of these games are taking risks and really pushing boundaries, and somehow they're still finding a way to be more accessible. So when Nintendo drops a new console and leads with yet another Mario Kart at a higher price than ever before, it doesn't feel like they're honoring their legacy. It feels like they're monetizing it, like they're using it against us. Actually kind of feels like a slap in the face that stings pretty badly. And yes, to be fair, the Switch 2 is
because the company background in PC is telling you that if basically what Randy Pitchford said out loud, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way, right? Randy Pitchford said the quiet part out loud. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way. That's exactly how these corporations, right, act. Because they make the product and they're like, they're going to buy it. Not that we have to let them make a good product to buy it. They're going to buy it.
Is a technical upgrade. 4K visuals, better battery, smoother performance, more storage. It's all technically better on paper, but it doesn't feel like a new era. It seems like a slightly fancier version of something that we already
Minimal, viable product.
had. And for me personally, this realization of who Nintendo is not like a sudden moment of awakening. I've quietly been stepping back from them for a while now. And not because I stopped loving their games, but because I started seeing the patterns, the choices, the shifts. And at this point, it's pretty clear that this Switch 2 release is not just about a new price tag or a genuine attempt at launching something new, it's just another step in the same pattern that's been repeating for years. Back in the day, this used to be the company that took risks, that made magic, that redefined entire genres and invited us into something truly special. But now, kind of just seems like they're relying on the fact that we'll show up no matter what.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay? They're relying on the fact that no matter what they do, you're going to show up. Instead of earning you again and making something for you again, the customer, they're like, nah, let's just do this, bare minimum, and they're going to buy it anyway.
Even though they are so often very anti-consumer, it's because they know our nostalgia runs incredibly deep. And the more I've seen it, the
From birth to death, Nintendo. Congratulations, you have a baby boy or girl. Here's a Nintendo. I'm sorry, your grandfather just died. Here's your Nintendo. Right, you got to turn it back in.
harder it has been to unsee. Nintendo has mastered something I can only describe as weaponized nostalgia. They've turned our childhood memories into a soulless business model. And the part that really hurts is that it works. It worked on me for so long. I've been
Hold on, I missed that part.
nostalgia. They've turned our childhood memories into a soulless business model. And the part that really hurts is that it works. It worked on me for so long.
She has seen the wizard behind the curtain. She has seen the wizard behind the curtain. She is now one of us. One of us. Okay? She's like, how long has this been happening? How long has the company been doing this to me? She has seen the light.
Long. I've been the Nintendo fangirl who's bought the remakes, re-releases, and updated ports, even though I knew deep down that what they were offering was not anything new. And looking back on it, I don't know, I guess it was because I didn't feel like I was buying a game, it felt like I was buying a memory. And Nintendo...
Ah, yes. Yes, you're buying the memory. Remember this fun thing when you were a child? Well, we made it again, right? That is the number one thing Disney does. That's why Disney people get so upset when they're taking the old cartoons and remaking them into live action, okay? Because they're just obliterating stuff, right?
Nintendo knows that. They know that we remember how it felt to blast through Alien Worlds and Metroid Prime.
Roadkill says, guarantee she's playing Nintendo Switch 2 right now.
Or how it felt to spend hours raising your perfect Nintendog like it was your actual childhood pet. They know we feel these titles in a
Nintendogs, I remember that.
way that goes
Never had it,
beyond
but I remember
gameplay. And they have perfected the art of re-releasing titles, sometimes only mildly updated, at full price, locking legacy content behind paywalls and subscriptions, and offering nostalgia not as a gift, but as a heartless transaction. And just a quick side note that I found out while I was writing out this video. Do you want to talk about heartless? Because I just found out that Nintendo actually replaced the voice actress for Princess Peach after 18 years. And they didn't even tell her. She found out with the rest of the world when the new Mario Kart game came out.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're like, yeah. And they don't care. They're like, yeah, she worked for 18 years. She's getting too expensive. We can't share the $80 version of the game with her now. She's gonna take a bigger chunk of that $80. We gotta fire her and replace her with someone brand new so we get more of that $80.
That's actually insane. But anyway, to get back on track, there's always been a huge difference between celebrating fan love and exploiting it. And for me, it seems like Nintendo has lived long enough to finally see themselves become the villain. So moving on from the Switch 2 release, at some point, I started looking at how Nintendo treats the people who love their games. And what I found...
And they treat them like shit.
Honestly broke my heart a little.
Hell, I might get DMCA'd or copyright claimed just because I'm showing Nintendo content on this channel. That's how bad Nintendo is.
Little bit. Because Nintendo doesn't just protect its legacy, they police it. Let's start with content creators. This is nothing new. For many years now, Nintendo has been going after them. Streamers, YouTubers, musicians.
Cease and desist. Nintendo played this game 82 times. Nintendo has collected 9 coins. Nintendo relocked content 39 times. Nintendo invited lawyers to smash 34 times.
For doing what, honestly, most other gaming companies celebrate, sharing their love for the brand and its IP. Somehow, I managed to kind of turn a blind eye to most of this until the Point Crow situation. He was a YouTuber who was making these really incredible Breath of the Wild mod videos. Fun, creative, and totally original.
Uh-oh.
And then one day, Nintendo claimed and struck 27 videos. No warning, no
27 videos? Okay, so he posted this on April 14th, 2023, and the videos they struck are from September 7th of 2019 all the way up to January 14th of 2023. Wow.
Conversation just straight up attacked. And it wasn't just his Breath of the Wild mods, it was any content that featured them, including other creators who had collaborated with him. It all got wiped out like a purge. And it made me pause because these weren't leaks and they weren't made to be malicious. It really was just fan content.
It was a fan. It was a fan making content because he loved Nintendo. And Nintendo's like, we're going to shit on you because you love us.
Content that was made out of love. And Nintendo really cracked down on it like it was a threat. And this was not an isolated case. One that has really stuck with me was Gilvasunner. And if you didn't know, Gilvasunner's channel used to be one of the only places online where you could find full Nintendo soundtracks. For years, Nintendo basically had these locked up very tight unless you were able to purchase a physical CD from Nintendo themselves. They weren't on Spotify, Apple Music, Nintendo's YouTube channel, no official platform to listen to any of it. And Gilva wasn't even trying to profit from this. There were no ads or monetization, just the original music uploaded for fans who wanted to relive the moments those songs came from. It was really a gift to the community. And then it was gone. Nintendo initially sent over 1,300 takedown notices, and after that, it was followed
Hi, everyone. After 1,300 copyright blocks from Nintendo a few days ago, the YouTube channel received another 2,200 blocks today, with likely many more to follow. After I think about this a lot over the past few days, I've decided that this point is really not worth it. That's what Nintendo does. They're bullies.
By another 2,200. The entire channel was essentially wiped out and Gilva closed up shop. And I know this might sound a little bit dramatic, but that was kind of a big turning point for me when it came to how I viewed them. Just a little side note / confession, but as a former Disney adult who has learned the error of her ways, I feel pretty qualified to say this. Nintendo really is the Disney of gaming. They're wholesome on the surface.
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what I said on GXG last week when I said the people that are buying the Nintendo Switch 2 are the same people that are Disney adults? Okay, let me rewind a little bit, right?
That was kind of a big turning point for me when it came to how I viewed them. Just a little side note / confession, but as a former Disney adult.
Do you see how she says it though? She's like, former. Don't lump me into those people. Former Disney adult
Who has learned the error of her ways. I feel pretty qualified to say this. Nintendo really is the Disney of gaming. They're wholesome on the surface, very full of magic and memories, but underneath, there's a very quiet, corporate, malicious control. In both
cutthroat. Okay? Disney doesn't pay their bills, by the way. I've said this before. They don't pay their bills. They ask for free shit all the time. Right? They pay $0 for Coke products. $0. And they charge you $3 to $5 for soda. They get it for free. And they tell Coke that you get advertisement. Okay? And Coke's like, thank you, sir. Because if they don't want to do it for free, Pepsi will. Or another product will. Because that is the power of Disney.
Both companies know how to tug at your childhood heartstrings while handing out copyright strikes and ulterior motives on the side. At the time I was watching this unfold, the more I sat with what happened to Gilva, the more it made me wonder, why is Nintendo's music so locked away to begin with?
Uh-oh. She's going down the rabbit hole. Rabbit hole. Rabbit hole's not working. Oh, no. Where's my rabbit hole button? We don't have the rabbit hole button.
These soundtracks have some of the most iconic songs in gaming. They were emotional, timeless, and they were very deeply personal for so many of us. And like I said earlier, Animal Crossing Wild World was my comfort game. And yet, at the time, there was basically no way for me to go listen to it legally. It felt like—
Thanks, Eclipse. I appreciate it. There's a rabbit hole. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Nintendo had locked away their history in a vault, and they just would not let anyone open it up. And from there, I started noticing so many other examples. Fan games getting shut down, community passion projects being wiped out, and listen, I get it. IP protection is legally within their right. But it all just felt like they were going out of their way to crack down on this,
100%.
Acting very aggressive, cold, and even heartless. Especially when you look around at many other companies, Sega, Capcom, Xbox, PlayStation, even some indie studios, and you see them amplifying creators, lifting them up, letting the fans be a part of the legacy. But Nintendo doesn't really do that. They continue to pull the—
Just let you know, at any time, anybody on Twitch can get pulled down because they're playing games that if they don't like you, they can just pull it down. They have every right to pull it down. It would look terrible on these companies that if they don't want you to play their game and pull it down, it would look terrible on them. But any company can pull any copyright stuff down because not all of this is not good, right? YouTube, Twitch, anyone that plays video games, they can get pulled down at any time for whatever reason because they own the content. You don't.
Plug again and again, and over time I started wondering if maybe I had just been giving them the benefit of the doubt simply because I grew up loving them. So at this point, after the Gilva takedown, I had already started to feel uneasy. The creator takedowns, the fan projects, the legacy content, it was all feeling a lot more controlling than caring. But the moment that truly stopped me in my tracks was when I heard the story of Gary Bowser. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know about any of this until I listened to an episode of Darknet Diaries.
I don't know what this is.
Which, by the way, Jack does an incredible job explaining.
I stopped watching the video after the Disney thing, so.
All of this. I'll link it in the description for you. Now, I obviously knew at this point Nintendo could be very protective of their IP, but this This was on a whole other level. Gary was a part of a group called Team Executor, and what they did was build and sell mod chips, little pieces of hardware that you
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is jail time. This is jail time. If you're doing mods against Nintendo, whew.
could install in your Nintendo consoles to run homebrew apps, custom firmware, and yes, pirated games. But people also use those mods for stuff that wasn't necessarily piracy. They used it to run backups of games they already owned, or just experiment with the system for their own personal use, things that were really never going to be available through Nintendo directly. Gary essentially became the fall guy for the entire organization, and Nintendo came down on him in a way that was very extreme. In 2020, Gary was arrested at gunpoint in the Dominican Republic and
What? Wait a minute. I do remember covering this story on GXG many years ago.
extradited to the US. By 2022, he'd been sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay $14.5 million in damages.
Yes, we covered this on GXG back in 2020.
$4.5 million in restitution, and then another $10 million from a civil suit. And after he got out early, he still owed all of it. And he started paying Nintendo back 25 to 30% of his monthly income.
Jesus Christ.
Which at one point was just $25 a month from his prison library job. He'll basically be paying them for the rest of his life. When I heard that,
and they're charging $80. And they're charging $80. They're taking this man's life for the rest of his life, money from him for the rest of his life, 35%. And they're still charging $80. These fuckers.
my stomach dropped. I genuinely felt heartbroken for him. Yes, what he and the rest of the team were doing was illegal, and they did profit off of it, but Gary was just one man. And are we really saying the punishment fits the crime here? Because whatever legal lines were crossed, this felt less like justice and more like hatred and wrath. And not just for what he did, but for daring to even touch Nintendo's closed system. And the part that really got me with this is Nintendo tried to get Sony and Microsoft to back them up here, to join
And they said no. I remember this.
the lawsuit and make it a united front against piracy. Both companies said no. Both Sony and Xbox, billion-dollar publishers in their own right, refused to be a part of it. Even they seemed to think that it was too far. And again, I am not here to outright defend piracy, really. There's a whole conversation to be had about access, preservation.
Listen, if there's a game, like let's just say for some reason, Oblivion Remaster didn't happen, and someone wanted to have Oblivion and they took the thing and they put a mod on their thing so they could play it, that's not hurting anybody because they weren't going to make it anyway. They weren't making money from it. There's no actual thing you can use to play it anymore because the system is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if I want to play it and I happen to find it and play it, you're not doing anything with it, right? Like right now, Sony Entertainment doesn't own Star Wars Galaxies. They don't own it. Okay? People are running the servers and having Star Wars Galaxies, and they're not charging anything. If you want to play the game, you can play the game. They're not playing the game. They delisted it. It's no longer there. Okay? It's not hurting anybody. But these companies, man.
And ethics, but this felt incredibly cruel and predatory. Nintendo did not just want to stop Gary from what he was doing, they wanted to make him an example.
They wanted to destroy him.
And for me,
That's mob stuff, dude.
this was the defining moment when I knew Nintendo was no longer the company that I had loved for decades. And if you thought Gary Bowser's case was just a one-off or a legal overreach in a rare situation, it wasn't. Because not long after that, Nintendo set its sights on something much bigger and arguably much more telling. You might have already guessed it, but I'm talking about Power.
Palworld. I've been saying since they did this to Palworld, fuck you, Nintendo. Right? They did this stuff after this game came out. Right? Now they think they have the rules where no one can throw balls at animals anymore. Okay? Like, get out of here, man.
World. You probably remember when it blew up. A very weird, chaotic blend of Pokemon-style creature collecting and open-world survival mechanics. It was very messy, it was wild, but it was so much fun. People were very obsessed, myself included. And yes, come on, it clearly was inspired by Pokemon.
Which was inspired by, what was the other one? What's the other one Pokemon was it Dragon Quest? No. What the hell is the other one called? I'm not a big fan of these things. What's the one that Pokemon copied now that Palworld copied? It was Dragon Quest. Thank you.
That's not a secret. You could throw a spear, you could collect little pals, you ride them, you battle them. It was Pokemon adjacent, absolutely. But here's the thing. It wasn't a copy. The characters were different. The art direction, tone, many mechanics were different. It took a very familiar genre and gave it a bold, slightly unhinged twist. And for the first time in years, fans were saying, why doesn't Nintendo try stuff like this? Instead of taking that feedback and
they don't try stuff like this because minimal viable product. They don't want to try anything outside the wheelhouse because they just want to sue people and own people and stop people from doing anything so they can do the bare minimum so they can get all the money from the people that think that they're Nintendo fans.
In stride. Instead of rising to the challenge, listening, learning, evolving, Nintendo did what they've been doing for a while now. They sued. Together with the Pokemon Company, they filed a patent infringement lawsuit against the Palworld dev team. Not over character design, surprisingly, not even over branding, but over mechanics. Things like throwing a Pal Spear to catch creatures, using them in combat, riding them across the world. And because of all of this, the Palworld team had to actually go in and change all of those features. They stripped out mechanics that players loved, not because they were
I would have said, fuck you. The studio would have been closed. I would have said, fuck you. We're not changing any of it. You don't own the rights to this.
ethical, but because they simply couldn't defend themselves against a legal juggernaut. And just like with the Gary Bowser case, Nintendo tried to bring other companies into the fight. Sony and Microsoft were reportedly approached to back them again here, and again, they declined. They did not want to be a part of it. And all of this says a lot, because this could have been a big moment for Nintendo, a wake-up call, an opportunity for them to ask, what is it that people are responding to? Why are they so excited about this? What can we learn from this? But instead of innovation, they chose litigation. And to me, it was not a stand for creativity or IP protection. The Pokemon formula has been around for literally 30 years. We all know
it's because they don't want competition. If this game's out and they have the same mechanics in, then they actually have to work to do something different to innovate. Okay? Same thing exactly with Madden football. They don't want anyone else to have the NFL license because then they would have to actually compete in the football space. Same exact thing.
what it is and where it comes from. And Palworld was not going to change that. No. This was Nintendo being a bully and swinging at anything that threatened the comfort of their complacency. They had an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to take advantage of someone already laying the groundwork for them, but instead, they chose violence. And after everything, the creator takedowns, the lawsuits, the silencing of innovation, you think maybe Nintendo would at least try to get one thing right. Their legacy. I remember when Nintendo Online was first announced. It sounded like such a win, a way to legally revisit classic titles, play old favorites, dive back into the library that built up this brand. And at first, I was so hopeful, but the reality has been frustrating at best. Games get added randomly. Some months it's not much. Other months it's one obscure NES title no one really asked for. Entire consoles like Game Boy Advance or N64 still feel incomplete, and sometimes titles will just...
They could take their whole lineup of Nintendo games, throw it on there, and they're like, no, let's just do a couple of little things here and there. We don't want to do any kind of work.
Disappear without warning or explanation. They're just gone. And now, with the launch of the Switch 2, I thought maybe they would just try to clean things up a bit.
No, because they don't care. And again, I really think it's sweet that she's got an inkling of a little bit back in the head. Like, she's like, maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll change. This sounds very familiar. This sounds like when I called Destiny my stripper ex-girlfriend, okay? When I compare Destiny to a bad relationship where you feel that you are constantly in this relationship, but you're only giving in and they give you nothing back. This is exactly what it sounds like. She still has hope. There's still a piece of glimmer inside there where she feels that they can change.
Cube has finally joined the retro lineup, which is very awesome. But they only added 3 games at launch: Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. Like, yeah, that's a cool trio, I guess, but it's also pretty bare bones for a console with so many legendary titles. And yes, I know more are coming, but why launch with so few? Why not take the easy?
Because they can. Little as possible, so when they add more, they can raise the price for Nintendo Online.
Win here and give your fans what they've been begging you for years. Beyond the catalog, the performance isn't always there either. Sometimes there's lag, some games have awkward control schemes, others don't support cloud saves. It doesn't really feel like a premium service. It feels like something Nintendo begrudgingly maintains, and definitely not something that they can be proud of. The thing is I've always wanted to support something like this. I actually am very happy to pay to play these games legally. I want to revisit the titles that shaped me in a clean, easy way, but Nintendo has made it so hard. It's like they're sitting on this treasure trove of nostalgia, this very beautiful, powerful legacy, and instead of sharing it or celebrating it with us, they keep it to themselves and withhold it. They kind of hold it over us like drugs, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing. Hold on, I want to back up.
They keep it to themselves and withhold it. They kind of hold it over us like drugs, honestly, banking on the fact that we'll continue to play the part of the willing addicts who will be so happy.
What did the real fake wizard say yesterday? I can't help it. I have to pay the money, right? Like they have to. They just can't stop themselves.
Banking on the fact that we'll continue to play the part of the willing addicts who will be so happy for even the tiniest drop. It really is heartbreaking, but at this point, I'm not even really mad about it. I'm just tired and maybe still a little bit sad.
She's in a bad relationship with Nintendo. She's in a bad relationship with Nintendo. Girl, let it go. Let it go. Don't call them. Don't pick up. Don't pick up the phone. Leave it there. Don't pick up the Switch.
Now, again, to be clear, this video is not meant to shame anybody. If you bought the Switch 2 or you're a part of Nintendo Online and you're loving it, I think that's great. Truly, I am not here to steal joy away from anyone. This video really is just to talk about how I can't ignore how much my own relationship with Nintendo has changed over the years. And I don't love them anymore. Not the company, not like I used to. And that's difficult to say out loud because I grew up on these games. I spent summers chasing stars in Mario 64, winters decorating my Animal Crossing home, racing my siblings in Mario Kart, riding Epona across Hyrule Field like it was the most magical thing in the world. And for me,
she's attached to those memories, not the company.
These were not just games. They were a part of my childhood. And that's why all of this hurts so much, because the company that once led with a full heart and love for gaming feels like it's running on autopilot, giving us the absolute bare minimum.
Yes. Yes. See the light. See the light.
Comfortable, safe, lazy, greedy. We're getting less and paying more. And look, the industry as a whole is a bit of a mess right now, but it's still fair for us to ask for better, to feel valued.
100% it's fair for us to ask, right? You are the consumer. They exist because of us. If they don't put up the bar, we don't give our money. If you give your money to everything and anything they put out, then that lowers their bar. Ask for better.
As customers, to want these companies to care. And for a long time, I really believed that Nintendo did, that they were different, that they stood for something. But now it's hard to see how that could still be true. I always joke that my relationship with Nintendo is super toxic because
Yes. Yes. Nintendo is her destiny. Nintendo destiny is what Nintendo is to her. Yes, it's a bad relationship. You have to get out of it.
Because even after all of this, even after how I've seen how they treat their consumers and fans, part of me still hopes that they'll change. Because they could. It really would be so easy. If they wanted to, they could be the company that
100%.
supports creators instead of silencing them, shares their legacy instead of locking it away, prioritizes joy over control, and evolves instead of punishing innovation. I really would love nothing more than to fall back in love with them. But right now, it just seems like Nintendo is going to keep being Nintendo, just very stuck and too happy to stay that way. The love that I once had for them was so real and the magic really mattered, but the company behind that magic, it feels further away than ever. If you made it to the end of this video, seriously, thank you so much, and I would love to hear your story. What made you fall in love with Nintendo? Are you still in love with them? Or have you also had a bit of a breakup with them like me? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
She's very wholesome. She's very wholesome. I understand why she's blowing up. Yeah, she's got a lot of 130. Oh my gosh, she went up 5,000 more from yesterday when I saw the video. 137,000 subscribers. Hit the like button if you like the video. It's in the description down below. I saw it. I saw it from a mile away. I was like, she's in a bad breakup. Yeah. She's exactly what I felt like when Destiny was back in 2016. And I was like, man, they're so good. Their potential's so good and all this other stuff. And then I just fell out, right? And I kind of went back every once in a while. I don't know. I would love to know if she owns a Switch 2. I would love to know. I think Roadkill said that she's playing Switch right now, or Switch 2 right now. I mean, she's not wrong. She did the whole thing. Man, that's brutal. I remember that case of the guy that got sued in jail time. Yeah, you don't mess with them. Man, she's in a bad relationship, toxic relationship with Nintendo. You have to let it go, right? I think she's seen the light. She's still begrudgingly a little bit hurt. And that takes time, right? That takes time. I will never play another thing that Bungie creates. Just, I'm done. I don't want to give them anything. I don't care if Sony owns them. Bungie's dead to me, right? Dead to me. I don't care if they come out with the Transformer game. They're done. I'm dead. Put that down. I don't care. Anything Bungie does, I'm done. House says Evolve is on Nintendo. Argus says a little too wholesome. A little too wholesome. I mean, I guess it's her clientele. I don't know. I mean, she's doing something right. 137,000. This video has been seen 289,000 times. Whew. Man, I want to see something real fast. I want to see what her other videos are doing. I want to see what the rest of her videos are doing. From what she was to what the point of... Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. You could see a definitive line. Okay, so her first video. Okay, what video reacted to my video? So it not ready. Which one was it? It had to be the first one. No More Queens or whatever it was. Her first video, she's only got, holy Christ, she's only got 13 videos? 13 videos. And she went from 0 to 138,000. Hold up a second. Hold up a second. $13 videos, and she's made it to that point. You can't even look up the information because she's too new. Wow. Bravo. Fuck me, right? Like I'm struggling day after day. I'm a little jealous right now, right? 13 videos. She started April 1st of this year. 13 videos. And this is life-changing for her. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. She hit the lottery. She hit the lottery. Yeah, but Kylo, even if with the asthma effect, right, she's making good content, right? Someone put the spotlight on her. Boom. There it is. Yeah, they got a new creative director about 4 months ago, is what the article said. Oh, absolutely. She's very well-spoken. Yeah, that's crazy. Ray says this is like Laura Fryer level of skyrocket subs. No, Laura Fryer's not even like that, right? So Laura Fryer, I think she's only what? Okay, hold on. She is. Yeah, she's at 56,000 subs, right? 56,000 subs, and she makes good content as well. Holy Christ, that's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, really lucky. All you got to do is make a video about Bungie, have Sarge do a rant, and bam, more subs. Yeah. Here's the thing, Water. I like the way my channel grows because we have natural people come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to make something where it's like this TikTok thing and then someone comes in, or if it's sort of like if someone played one game and got popular off that one game. Do you know what I mean? And then they have to be begrudged to hold and play that game nonstop for like the longest time. I don't like that. I like what we're doing. Yeah, she is. This is why I recommended that video game for you to watch. I appreciate that, Kylo. Right. You still got to be entertaining. Laura Fryer is still a corpo. This girl was speaking from the heart. Very authentic. Water Bear. Holy Christ. Thank you very much. Says 8:30. Go buy MindsEye, or better yet, put it towards your PC parts. $49.99. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, all super chats going towards that. That all goes towards me saving up for a computer. Thank you very much, Water. MindsEye is a better choice, Water. I'm not buying MindsEye. I'm not buying it. I'm not playing it. We're not doing it. We're staying clear away from that. Oh, perfect timing. It's 12:30. The people have spoken. Yeah, I'm not spending $49.99. I'm not spending the $60 to buy MindsEye. The healing process for Bungie may have started. Read the last two messages for more details. Okay, hold on. Last two messages. Speaking of Bungie, Sony might just took over Bungie, removing their independence, and they are now listed on the website as be a part of the PlayStation Studios experience and wasn't there in the past. I'll be waiting for the articles to be written. Interesting. Did they fire everyone? No. Yeah, we're not buying the asset flip. Don't worry. Don't worry, Eclipse. Not happening. All right, let's see here. Let's see what's happening on Twitter real fast. If anything else is happening. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're back with Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. That'll be 8 p.m. tonight. Babylon Bike with the PC parts, $5. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, we have a podcast tonight, GXG Live, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be over on Twitch /30 and Still Gaming, or right here on 30 NSG if you want to watch the past broadcasts. I haven't put them up in a while. But you can also listen to us or watch us over on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or Anchor.fm, or anywhere else a podcast is listened to. Feels Good says, I'm riding and dying with Marathon. I enjoy the alpha. Fantastic. You do you. I'm not supporting Bungie in any way, shape, or form. Crowded House says, Pete Parson has to be removed before I can feel good about Bungie. We got to find a good article for Sarge to rant on. He hasn't done it in a few weeks. I think, what are you talking about? He rants like every Thursday he rants. Class is in session for the rant. What else is happening here? I don't see anything else. Update for Clear Obscure. Gears of War multiplayer is back in the menu this weekend. Okay. Nothing else. Avowed, Grounded 2, and Outer Worlds 2, 2025 Year of Obsidian. Did Avowed come out this year? I guess it did, right? It came out in February. All right. I think that's going to do it. No major rant in a while. All right, well, then give them what they want, Sarge. Give them what they want. Silent Hill 1 remake just got announced. I'm not a big Silent Hill fan. I'm not a big Silent Hill, Resident Evil, all that stuff. I played the ones when they originally came out. I just never been a big fan of those. Stalker 2 patch 1.5 on its way. It might actually fix the 8-life system. Imagine a game coming out and being fixed when it launches, huh? All right, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, GXG, right here on 30NSG. Make sure you guys come back, hang out with us. It's a good time. It ends the week. Little housekeeping in order. I'll be gone this weekend again. I'm going down south to visit some family for Father's Day. And then Monday morning, we might not have a show. I don't know if we're coming back Sunday night or if we're coming back Monday morning. If I come back Monday morning, there won't be a show on Monday morning. If I come back Sunday night, business as usual. Appreciate it very much. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuned daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too. We've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Laughs and news on winning plan, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun below. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. Fun new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning